We're on.
Oh, you're recording?
He's kickstarting, yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's how you start a pod right there. Shop Talk, episode 5.
I approve waterboarding. We're talking about wakeboarding. The thing about wakeboarding, every trick is an invert.
Backside,
air railing,
a new dimension.
All right. Well, I say we dive right into this. That was a good way to kickstart this, literally. Episode 5, Shop Talk. We got 2 recurring guests. John Dreiling, Johnny D, I think 3rd time on the pod. Jake Ramsdell, none other than. Just want to let you know your episode was my mom's favorite.
Wow.
So if you need a little ego boost, yeah, that's right there for you.
That is a compliment, and I will do my best to take that news respectfully and not make a joke.
Much appreciated. Okay, love that. Then we got T.J. How do you say Giesey?
Yeah, Giesey.
First try, love it.
Nice, you did.
So let's dive into a Mount Rushmore. So you follow a lot of other podcasts, sports podcasts do these a lot, where you do a snake draft of a topic. So today's topic is the Mount Rushmore of worst things to have happen when you're out on the boat. So I don't know who wants to start here. I was thinking, I don't know. You guys are the guests, so I think we start at one end, either with Johnny D or Jake Ramsdell, and then kind of work our way down, and it's a snake draft. So if it starts with Jake, it goes to TJ, goes to me, then it goes to Johnny D, then Johnny D goes again, then it goes back to me, then TJ, and then back to Jake.
I say you got it, John.
All right, Johnny D, yeah.
I probably have the least amount of things. So.
Well, then that's good that you start. You get the first pick, though. So
I'm
the
going
first
to take
pick,
the easy one.
Okay.
Dean Smith running over someone.
Okay. That's
Spice.
Wait, maybe I don't understand the rules of this.
Is there a backstory to this?
Yeah, on the podcast that Dean did, he talked about how when he was maybe 18, 17, he was driving Amber. Sorry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ran over a kayaker.
She told the story, I think. She was doing a double up, and he was like looking at it, eyeing it up, couldn't see a kayaker paddling, and he ran over a kayaker. And she's like yelling at him to like, change it, but he didn't catch any of that. And like the guy almost lost his arm or leg or something.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
You got to listen.
It was
to
a bad
podcasts.
situation. So that is
Wasn't good.
That's an interesting 1-1 that wasn't on my board. I'll go next here. Having to poop. So you're out on the boat. You got to take a poop.
I feel like that's just pretty easily solvable, though.
Well, it depends, I guess, on the squad. If you're, I don't know, you got a boat full of 14. You want to be the guy that's like, hey, I'm either going to poop off the front, drop me off on the island. It's an inconvenient thing to happen on the boat.
It's kind of like non-announced, though, You
mean you could do it
sneakily? What if it's a floater?
I mean, that's the risk you got to take.
You could get away with it for sure if you've been eating your fiber and it's going to sink. You could for sure get away with it.
100%.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So diet depending.
Diet, I guess, and yeah, okay. That's some good counterpoints to that.
That's gambling though, because like, what if who's the worst person that your turd could like float up to?
Well, dude, that's what if you're on a boat
Is this a mid-conversation thing?
Man, I just feel like if my turd floated up on someone, I would feel so bad. Like,
oh, I feel terrible. That's a dude that you'd ruin their day. Their day would be
at least their day.
Yeah, it could be worse. Yeah.
I've never been concerned about hopping in the water and taking a dump.
I guess I'm operating under the assumption that like
honest.
It's not a normal dump. There's something going on in your stomach where it's like 0 to 100 real quick, and you're like, this isn't going to be clean.
Yeah,
that's kind of
gas station, like poop or something. Ooh.
Yeah, so that's my second pick. I thought it'd get more well received than it did, but I take what it is. So TJ, what do you got?
It was top. That was in my top 3. That was one of the one of the low hanging fruit that I was certain. Did anyone who else had that on their list?
Just us two? Okay.
I did have it.
Well, we'll see how the listeners feel, but
it's fun. You talking about Dean Smith running someone over? I got run over last year. Like, only time it's ever happened to me, and I can't believe I forgot it and didn't put it on. But I definitely got run over by a boat while wake skating last year. I was on Lake Killarney with my buddy Brandon LeSueur, and it wasn't like a huge boat. It was one of those, like a Boston whaler, 13-foot Boston whaler, and he was leaning over the edge to my board had like kind of slid away from me on a fall. He was leaning over the edge of the boat to just push the board my way so I didn't have to swim as far. And as he leaned, his leg or his hip like bumped the outboard throttle, bumped it and hit it forward. And it like when it accelerated, it threw him to the back of the boat. And he was from me to you. Like I was floating in the water that far away, and the boat just reared up right at me. And I just swam down as fast as I could.
That's an outboard too.
I watched the prop go like right over my head. He was freaking out. Like when he came up, he was just like holding his head, and he was he probably thought he killed me. But It wasn't that bad because I wasn't wearing a coastie.
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
That's one of those times where it saves you.
I was wearing one like a couple falls before, and I was just I hadn't wake skated in a long time, and I was just getting back into it. And I felt like I was riding with a weight jacket on, so I was like, let me just get a couple falls without it, and that happened. Like, I think I still probably could have gotten down far enough with a coastie, but it would have been harder.
Yeah. That's scary. That's very scary. So
You're alive, dude.
What was your did you pick or no?
No, I didn't. That was just I forgot about running someone over. That's a
that's
terrible
a
thing that
big
can happen,
thing.
and it has happened to me.
I thought everyone would have that on their list because it's kind of obvious.
No.
So this one is it depends. I feel like we're all Florida guys, so it's not as big of a deal. Usually, if you leave something, it's not that big of a deal. You can go back to the dock. But forgetting the rope. That's happened
I had that.
so many more times than I
that.
can think of. And the in Florida, not as big of a deal. But if you're in California or something, you're maybe going to go ride the Delta or, the Colorado River or something. Like, you're probably driving a couple hours to get there. If you forget the rope at home,
It's a day ruiner right there.
Have you guys ever had to like make a makeshift rope to still ride? Because
I haven't, no.
I have. Out of just
You want to pull the mic a little closer, Jake?
Yeah, just out of a bunch of little tie-ups off of the tops of buoys, and then just like extensions that were randomly laying around, and made like a 45-foot rope out of it.
What'd you do for a handle?
There happened to just be like a really shitty one around, but it worked great.
I've definitely ridden with just like dock lines tied together.
Yeah, it was like
in a big knot, and we just held a knot.
I mean, you're out there. You got to do something.
We're not gonna not ride. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds ridiculous. You're like, I wouldn't do that, but you would.
It's either that or you don't ride. You're riding. So.
I think we did that one time on like the Swanee River or something. You're not going like to ride the Swanee. You're driving hours.
Did you throw the like line out of the middle and like hold the ball of knot?
I think we just tied like a pretty big, like almost tennis ball size knot, and just like held it. And
Did it work?
it worked for the most part. Yeah, I mean, handle passing was hard, but it worked enough.
Not passing.
All right, Jake, what do we got? Fourth pick at the end there. You got two in a row.
What do you mean?
So you're gonna pick, and then you're gonna pick again, and then it's gonna work its way back. So then TJ will go, then I'll go. So you got 2 picks.
So just 2 of the things off my list?
Yep.
Okay. So I did have that one on my list also, but no plug in the bottom of the boat.
Had that one.
And don't realize until you're in the middle and taking on water.
You got to get that puppy on plane quick.
Yes, I did that. I actually I did that recently. Pretty bad in front of the girlfriend's dad. Looked like a kook.
You make it out all right though?
Huh?
You make it out all right though?
Gassed it, bro.
Yep.
100%. Yeah, just got it on plane, let it drain out. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a really
Did he
good
have to
one.
bring it to your attention? Like, hey, I think the plug's out.
He made some comments,
That sucks.
Just like,
Was it his boat or your
rookie
boat?
mistake, It was my boat.
That's
better.
That's
Even
better.
more
At least.
embarrassing.
It's more embarrassing, but at least it's better. It's like it's my boat.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah.
All right, what do you got next?
Oh, and then the next one was, let's see here. Inviting a group of people, and they bring someone who doesn't know anyone else, who happens to just somehow become the drunkest person in the world and destroy and just be reckless the whole time.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I had something similar on my list, not exactly in that vein, but that's yeah.
Yeah, there's always like
Just that guy.
There's always that guy that doesn't ride or something, and then just gets out there and just like turns it up and kind of.
Especially when it's like with us, it's like their vibe and what they expect is the complete opposite of what we're going for.
What's actually happening? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Good 2
You
picks.
mean
there.
every wake boat doesn't come with a stripper pole? Like, that's a custom attachment?
All right, TJ, what do you got for your second pick?
I don't have to go chronologically, right? I can just pick like.
You can go wherever you want on your list.
All right, how about making it look too fun out there? So that especially is a problem in Orlando, where there's you might be one of a handful of people that could be going out and riding on a lake. It seems like every time we're about to go out or something, if we are going to go on a boat or a jet ski, the lake will look perfect, and that will get us to go out there. And then as soon as you're out there riding, people see you. It seems like the boats are filling up with people. They're putting in their weight. They're coming out. And I always think if we didn't ride all day, the lake would be empty all day.
Yeah.
But because we made it look too fun, people are like, oh yeah, it looks good out there. Let's go. So just don't make it look, maybe turn the tunes down a little bit. Like,
yeah, maybe kind of like have a frowny face on.
Yeah,
the whole
look
time,
like you're having a bad, at least if you can kind of like water it down a little, because if you make it look too fun, you're going to influence them to come out and you're not going to like the result.
Damn. That's a good one. That is, I didn't have that on my board, not going to lie, but that's a good one.
It's a
It was
thinker.
further down on the list, but I feel like
it's a good play.
Underrated.
Yeah, it is underrated. I got a bunch on here, and I don't know which direction to go, but I'm going to go one that hits near and dear to me, running out of sunscreen. So you're out on the boat.
Fuck, that would hit near to you.
You didn't bring the long sleeve shirt because you thought you had enough screen, and you run out, and you're that guy that's like, hey, you have any sunscreen? No. You got any sun? No. So you're just kind of going to the Bimini all day, and I don't know. That's a me thing maybe.
Couple of day walkers on the podcast.
Yeah,
I'm with you though on that. I've had stuff cut off me now because of it, so I'm coated up every time I go out, and you're pretty much never gonna see me without long sleeves. I don't care how hot it is now.
That's where I'm at too.
That's a
sleeve
crucial
shirt. Probably got the hood. Got a hat.
Every time.
I've even been considering wake pants, not for fashion or warmth, but for just because like my legs
protection
get cooked at the park. Yeah, I definitely like slather it on, but it seems like you're gonna
tactical wake pants.
Yeah, I mean, if you see me riding wake pants this year, just mind your business. I'm not trying things out fashion-wise. It's for health. It's for my own health.
Yeah.
Well,
and hey, we're not gonna health shame.
On this topic, it was on my list. I don't know if it counts, but I was gonna say the worst thing to me that always happens to me is forgetting my long sleeve white T-shirt, which I ride in all the time. So it's kind of like a vibe thing. It's not even I don't need to be filming, but it could just be like it feels like weird if I don't have it, you know. But also if I'm not riding, it's on when I'm on the boat. For the same reason, I did have stuff cut out of me as well earlier this year. So
that's fair.
Sure, I feel
Dude,
that.
get yourself checked, guys. Get checked.
Dude, I thought it's funny you say the long sleeve shirt. I feel like no one does that, but I was literally thinking about. I was like, it'd be so sick to start like an SPF shirt company, just called like Florida Man or something, and it's just like all long sleeve, like pants, whatever. That just like is supposed to.
We need more options for.
Yeah, there's not good options.
I would agree. We need more options.
Because cotton, like PSA, whatever, cotton doesn't actually stop. You still have to put sunscreen on underneath. Like you need.
That's a good PSA. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Damn.
Yeah,
I mean, it might work a little. I'm not a freaking dermatologist.
It's got to be better than nothing, but yeah.
The dermatologist tells me it doesn't work because I'm like, yeah, I wear this to protect me from the sun. And she's like, yeah, nah.
What do they know?
Damn.
But I don't know. I didn't do my research. Okay, so
all right, you're on your second pick, right? So you got 2 and 3,
sure,
second and third pick.
If you count that one, yeah. Okay, so
well, are you
driving?
taking?
No, we can do different ones.
Okay,
Driving your sponsor's boat into a dock during a photo shoot.
Have you? It sounds like you've done that.
I haven't done it.
I guess you've never had a boat sponsor, but yeah, that sounds terrible.
I don't know if I want to throw out the rider's name or not, but it's pretty common knowledge, I think. I'm sure you'll get them on the podcast and they can talk about it.
Okay, noted. That would suck.
I thought you guys all know what I was talking about. And then actually this kind of is similar to Jake's as well, but a little different. For me, it's just like friends bringing a squad to ride when it's like you call up one homie, you're trying to get a quick set. I'm a busy person. I want to get to the freaking cable. This happened all the time where they're like, they don't even tell you. Rock up with 2 or 3 homies. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're just going to take a quick one. I'm like, I'm not. 4 hours later.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good. It's definitely different enough that yeah, it's good. But yeah, that's
because they could be the right vibe, but I'm like,
that's not what we're trying to go
I have a meeting. I have whatever, like this ain't
Chinese got meetings out here, dude.
I definitely have gravitated towards riding cable the older I've gotten, just because like I can go to ride cable on my own terms. I can rock up for an hour, ride real quick, get a full session in and leave. Whereas like if you try to do that on ski or boat or anything, like you've got to combine schedules with somebody. You're probably not going to be just 2 people. Like usually, other people show up. It becomes an all 4-hour ordeal.
It also happens, which I feel like some of my friends think I'm always bailing on them, but it also happens where I get a text, oh, come ride boat, but I don't know who's going on the boat, and I'm like too scared to go that 10 people are gonna be there, and I'm like, nah.
That's fair.
Tell me the amount of people, and then maybe we'll talk.
Boats are great, but they're a jail cell. Once you're out there, you're not getting back in.
That is why
you're locked in.
That is why I started riding cable. Like when I was 16, I tried to ride with people. They show up 2 hours late. This stuff happens. I was just like, I really don't have the time for this.
Do you need to know specifics of who
no,
exactly?
I don't care who's coming,
like,
but if you text me, be like, oh, it's a small group. Or it's a big, you know what I mean? But like,
if they're like, it's 6,
I feel weird asking because I don't want to be a fucking
6 of us and we're all riding. Are you bailing?
Yeah, no. I won't tell you why. Probably.
4-pack.
Well, yeah. What's your number? What's your number at?
I don't like a crew bigger than 3. But if it's bigger than 4, there's no chance I'm coming.
I think 3 is the ideal crew for like a regular set. 3
Dude,
is
me,
ideal.
Jake, and Marcus had the
three's
best crew for a bit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
One filmer, freaking hopping in
That's
the
why
dad
it's
cam.
ideal because you have an extra set of like if you do want to get a clip, you got someone to do it, and then it's not going to be like a 4-hour thing.
Love that.
Or if it is, it's somebody's battling, and you can at least speak up and say like, hey, I'm not ready for this.
I mean, a Sunday fun day. Let's throw 10 people on.
Sure, different
when we're
vibe,
calling
though,
it a
different
Sunday,
vibe.
like we know we're going for the day. But other than that,
All right, I'll go my third pick, and I'm shocked this fell this far. Boat won't start. You're out in the middle of the lake. Your boat won't start for whatever reason, and it's not one of the easy fixes where like the lanyard thing isn't latched in or whatever, you know. So
I feel like it's just bad luck to even say it out loud. I couldn't even.
I had to take it. I had to take it. I can't believe it fell this far, but yeah, it's
like Voldemort of our
just
sport, dude. You don't
can't-
even bring it up.
no, I just did. So
Damn.
What are you guys doing? Are
Good
you
luck.
paddling in? Are you calling someone? Like I'm probably just getting in the water with a rope on the bow and swimming, and hopefully having someone else there that will take turns with me doing that because
you're not waving. You're not.
and the paddling doesn't really work unless it's like dead flat. If it's not flat,
Yeah,
like
you're
if
not
it's
going
windy,
anywhere.
Are you saying
Yeah.
like in between sets, like it dies?
Yeah, like
away from the dock. Yeah.
Jesus, that is the
I was
worst.
like,
That happens.
That happened to me
Welcome to our
2 weeks
life
ago.
with all the '90s ski boats riding every day. Like
Yeah,
every
it
other
happens.
day, I'm calling Jake up, like, "Yo, can you pick me up?" And vice versa. Like,
Yeah.
my boat had a lot of issues when I first got it.
Oh, for sure.
It's one of those ones where
Had to
before
work
you
it
turn
out.
the key, you're like, oh, come on, girl. Just one more time.
I've
And then
taken
you
to.
give
I fucking do not turn
I
that shit
actually, since I've gotten a boat recently, I actually just don't shut it off in between sets.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't even risk
smart
it.
play. Smart play.
That's what I'm saying with these.
You
old
don't need.
boats.
I mean, you don't need to put it in neutral. Be safe. You don't. You're fine.
Yeah.
You leaving it running like on the island at Holden as you're hanging out.
No, but at the island, there's other.
Just blasting.
Percolating elder smoke.
At the island, there's other people there. You know. So you can at least get a tow back.
True.
All right, TJ, your third pick.
All right. This one can happen various sport or not even towing anyone, but submarining the boat. Like it's definitely a classic with surfing, but like my worst submarine experience was actually not towing at all. I was just like in like a boat parade on my home waterway back where I grew up. They do like a Christmas boat parade every year. And we decorated like somebody's like parents had a pontoon boat, and we just decked this thing out. And as we were going through the boat parade, it kind of goes like through this canal system in Miami. It's going through people's backyards that we know. So we were people are jumping on and stuff, you know, it's a neighborhood boat parade. So we're picking people up. And like, by the time we got to the end of the boat loop, we probably had 30 people on this pontoon boat that was meant for like 10 people max. And it was fine as long as we were going in a straight line. But as we tried to make this little like turnaround, the nose of the boat went down, and it's like Christmas. So it's freezing cold. We've got like a generator on the boat running like all the Christmas lights and everything.
Oh,
a bunch of
man.
people that were not ready to get wet, and the front of this pontoon boat just went down, and like everybody's sitting like, just waist deep in the water looking around like someone was going to save them. And that boat just stayed at the bottom of that canal for probably weeks after that. But yeah, I'm sure
Oh, it's sunk.
like as much as a pontoon boat could sink, like it wasn't at the bottom, but like the whole back of it and the motor was touching the bottom, and the front, because there's still air in the pontoons, was sitting up. But it was there for at least 2 or 3 days after that. Like they just like tied it up to the closest dock and left it there. It was it was like slow, so slow too. Like as it's going down, you're like, no. And everybody just let it wash over them, and like we were all waist deep in the water, still sitting in chairs. Like what now?
That is funny when a pontoon does that. I've seen that happen to another pontoon, like on the other side. It wasn't nearly as bad, but it was like they obviously know what they're doing. They have everybody just sitting in the front with like nobody in the back, and just
You could
run
get
into
a
a
catastrophic
surf
one
wave.
wake surfing too. Like if the driver doesn't know what they're doing and they turn around and just don't know to goose it a little bit going up the front of that big wake, like it could be
You're
tragic.
dunking it. You're dunking it.
Bad.
Hopefully you got a good bilge.
All right, Jake, you got 2 more picks, right? Yeah, you got 3 and 4. So
All right,
back to
this
back.
one is a personal, major pet peeve of mine, but I've just experienced this too many times. It's when someone, so it's kind of, I had 2 separate ones about the same topic. When someone demands the aux cord and has a shit taste in music.
I had that on mine.
That's the first one I've had as a duplicate, which I was like, everyone's gonna have this
I had
one.
that
but
one, yeah.
And,
shitty
I said wrong homie jumps on the aux.
And then there's a part 2, which is if you're on someone else's boat and the boat owner has a shitty taste in music, so you have no control.
Yeah, you got no say.
And then they make sure like they're really into their bad music. Blast it.
I feel like your best bet is to just like feign a little bit of interest in it, because if you show none, they're gonna keep pressing. Like, yo, have you heard of this guy? Do you listen? You know,
Yeah.
you're better off just feigning a little.
No, you got to like fall
into
into me. Like, yeah, dude. And you know what? That reminds me. I got this one song. Do you mind if I grab it next? You know, then you can.
Yeah, we'll see how stuck in they are. And
Yeah, hopefully you can like get them distracted with a different conversation or something, and then
Yeah, just.
that's tough. So is that one pick or is that 2 picks? I guess. I feel like that's 1 pick.
All right, it can be one.
Because we got honorable mentions at the end here too. So
All right. 4 people say they're bringing gas. No one does. Has to go to gas station. Rains.
it's like a quadruple whammy.
Damn, who you riding with?
Yeah, wake skaters, dude, probably.
That's probably true.
Dude, I mean, it happens. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
I mean,
I'll Venmo you, and then
yeah, it just ends up
everyone
being
does
one
it.
of those. So like, I think I got a can, and then everyone's just kind of rushing in. They're like, oh, I didn't have it. Oh, can I just Venmo you? And then it's like, no, like the boat is empty.
The boat doesn't run on Venmo.
It does, but there's
It
a
does,
long
yeah, it's
delay
indi-
from
it's
when
indirect,
it.
yeah. It's not immediate.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. I like that pick. All right, TJ, what do you got for your last pick?
This one's kind of a classic. I feel like it doesn't happen as much, you know, hopefully later in your riding career, but running over the rope. And on a jet ski specifically, running over the rope is a much like to obviously if on a boat your rope's cooked,
Jet
so you're gonna
skis?
tie it. But on a jet ski,
Horrible.
like
If you don't know
not
what you're
only
doing,
is
too.
your day probably ruined, like you have to have dealt with it before, and even if you have like you're talking about you're getting under the jet ski, they got this grate that's got like, you know, inch, maybe half an inch wide things, and you're taking some sort of knife and you're getting up in there and probably cutting it,
Dude,
because
I didn't
depending on how quick you cut it off, it'll wrap the whole rope around the
I
shaft.
didn't even think about it because at cable parks that happens all the time. But it's like you're close enough to get it to shore and flip it and actually work on it. Like I couldn't imagine working on it in the middle of the
Oh,
lake.
if you can't flip it, I don't think you're not probably
You're not
gonna do
fixing it,
Yeah,
yeah,
unless you shut it off real quick. If
But even
it's-
still, you have nothing on you. You probably don't have a good knife. You probably don't have any screwdrivers or anything. Like depends.
yeah,
how
so
bad it
on a
is.
jet ski, it's a bigger, like on a boat, you're probably just tying a knot or two in it and taking a few minutes. But yeah, on a jet ski, it could be a day ender.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a really good pick. I like that one. I'll go with my last pick here. I got a lot on the board here, but I'm going to go with, hey, can you film a reel for me? And I don't know. I've never done that, but I can't imagine that's a good vibe. Like the everyday reel. You seem like a hard disagree here, Mr. Reel Guy, but like, I don't know. If that's not the vibe, I guess, is what I'm going for.
The people I'm with, it's kind of their job, not me for boat stuff. But like, I'm always I'd be down if someone's like film a reel. I'd be like, what am I doing on the boat if I'm not filming?
Fair.
I feel like it would be weird to be asked to do it, but usually, especially like for us wake skating out the state of wake skating, like if Marcus is about
the
to ride or
thing.
Jake is about to ride, like I'm probably gonna
You're just doing it anyways.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
unless I'm driving, like, and even then, if I'm driving and the other person is sitting shotgun, like if he started trying something or I felt like he was maybe gonna do a line, I'd probably
Yeah.
be like, hey, film one or two.
Yeah, it's like a homie thing. It's like, yeah, you just film each other, and you know, I mean, I keep a dad cam in my glove box, you know, and that's how we did it. And it was just like, you know,
Well, if
you
someone's
don't always
getting
ask someone, but
if someone's getting close to something, like yeah, you just kind of pick up the camera naturally. But like
if you're with the right homies, you don't have to
unless
ask them.
someone asks
Yeah.
specifically to not, like, which does happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could do that. I might do that sometimes.
Some people are just like, do not film. Like I rode with Scott Byerly recently, and he was like, let's just enjoy the moment,
No clips.
like in this realm.
I like
And was
that.
like,
I can get
that's
that.
tight, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legend.
All right, not a great pick. I understand that now, but Johnny D, what do you got for the last one? We got honorable mentions afterwards too, so I got a couple extra. I don't know if anybody else has some. We can quickly
Too many
run through.
women on the boat.
yeah, I guess as a
Is this half a joke?
not being not single, yeah, it could be a problem, you know.
But it's not. It's more of the vibe thing. It's more like I'm showing up to get a quick set in, and then they're just trying to get laid. You know what I mean? And they're just like bringing all the women, and I respect it, but I would like a text heads up, just so I know.
It
Maybe I can
seems
let my
like-
wife know. You know?
Yeah, a lot of this is not matching the vibe. Like if you want this
It was-
vibe,
it's
you
ha-
don't want to have that.
It's
vibe.
half a joke, but I've been in that situation where I show up and I thought we were going to ride, and then they're like, "We're going to the fucking island" because they want to get with some chick, you know. And I'm like,
I'm not ready to commit to that.
just give me that heads up, you know. It's more the communication that's the problem. But
Johnny D. Big.
it's more of a
communication
joke
guy,
as
fair
well.
enough. Yeah, I get that one. All right. So, I mean, that was a good Mount Rushmore. There were some good picks on there. We got any honorable mentions? I'll start. I mean, cooler is empty. That one just kind of
tragic.
solid.
just
Absolutely
sucks.
tragic.
Just sucks. You got to go back. You got to fill it up. All that. So
You mean like running out of water?
Or you're dropping off 2
Just everything.
soldiers.
Everything.
You know? 2 troops to go find, make a run, and come
true.
back.
That could be a fun experience too. So yeah. I got putting on a wet life jacket. That's not really a thing down here as much as it is
or
as it was in
wetsuit,
Michigan.
or a wetsuit too.
Yeah.
That I'm probably at this stage in riding. I'm probably not riding. That could be like the deciding factor. Like if it's, depending on how cold if the vest is wet or the wetsuit is wet, like I'm not that committed anymore. That I'm just gonna like tolerate it. I'll just next time, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solid.
Anything else? Anybody got anything else for you?
I'm probably on an only wake skater problem. When you're going out on the ski, I feel like everybody or has either had it happen to them or has known someone happen to them. A shoe falling out of the footwell. It's just such a common thing that like you load everything up into the footwell and then you blast out. Usually the glass spot is not wherever you dropped in, you know. So you blast out to whatever spot on the lake is good. You go to ride and there's only one shoe in the footwell. Yeah, you're probably taking a barefoot set.
Yeah, you're not finding that.
Darn.
Yeah, that's
You ever lose a shoe out of the ski?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
yeah.
All the best shoes sink too. That's
Yeah, what is that?
padding is what floats, and padding in the shoes is not good.
Yeah, it's not the best for the ones that we like.
The last one I had was you wave to another boat. They see you, but they don't wave back.
Oh, heartbreaking.
That's That was,
Someone
it even when you said
yeah, no,
I just
it's
thought
not
this.
gonna be bad. Yeah,
Flash.
but
Flashback.
someone who just doesn't know how to share a line.
that'd be bad. Yeah,
You just like I've tried to even communicate with them and they're just nah.
It's usually the person that you're trying to share the line with too that doesn't get it. Like, you know, it's
Yeah,
one
that's
thing
what I mean,
if
yeah.
you have an established line, like them going and doing something else is more understandable because they thinking like I'm giving you that space, not
Yeah.
realizing it's better for us to use.
No, it's
the
more like
same
they
line.
run perpendicular to you, and you're
It's-
just like trying to communicate with them. Like, there's a way to do this where we both can ride.
It's happened to me on Holden, especially because it's
It's a
active
weird shape,
lake.
yeah.
Like, yeah, we've gone out there with Marcus and someone was riding and we kind of got out, waited when they rider switch. We started and they just started running a different line and the whole lake just got.
Yeah, you get on their line,
Yeah.
and then they think that's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Trying to
That's
collab.
more what I'm saying. Exactly
They don't
like
know.
that.
They don't
And
understand.
no matter what you try to do, that's just ruined.
All right. Well, that was good Mount Rushmore. I think we dive into a quick LF'n wheel of questions.
The LF'n wheel of questions.
Okay, let's go.
So, Johnny D, can you grab that down right behind you? Liquid Force likes to make wakeboarding fun, so I think we make this podcast a little bit more fun by spinning the LF'n wheel of questions.
Where do I put it?
You put it right there. You spin it, and then I think whatever it lands on, we'll all just answer it one by one.
That sounds good.
That's a good sound.
Highest ollie? Question mark.
Okay, so I think we do you two do Wakeskate, us two do wakeboard.
Aaron Rathy.
That was quick. I like it.
Mick Robinson.
Okay.
I could bring up the photo. I don't really feel like looking for it right now.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely.
Yeah, if I can find that,
I'll
put
show
that
you
in.
guys all the photo that I'm talking about later, and unless like I think Daniel Grant is capable of getting, but
That's
it's more of an air trick. Like Daniel can actually load the line and like he can ollie up like an 8 stair on a wake skate that's like chin high. I've seen Nick Robb do like an ollie that could have been done on a winch or anything, and it was about neck high, and there's a photo of it that's
Sheesh.
crazy. Like his butt is the thing that is like trying to clear the ollie, and it was at a high ollie contest out
That's
at,
so sick.
at Kevin Henshaw's like area 42.
Yeah. That's so sick. All right.
Yeah, Nick Robb.
Those are two good names. I'm on the wakeboard side, I'm gonna go Joe Battleday. There were a lot of names that you can pull here.
I got a few honorable mentions, but I'm going to stick with what I did. I think you made a post about this, and Rafter Rome's back lip and beyond perception, I think, is on a winch is like
on the
more
up to flat
proof
thing,
than I have of anyone else of like a proper, like again, not a half load. Frick, man. I've been riding with Jacob Sunday. Like all of the last month, and his ollies are insane. I was blown away. And then, of course, Joe and Trent. I mean, I think Trent actually has the highest.
Yeah.
If you were to, Trent and Guy, actually, if you were to put him on a cable and be like, ollie to the top of the Daniel Granite Shark.
I mean, DG's got a big one too, though. Like, I don't know, though, if it's close, but.
He's a pretty solid honorable mention. I mean, we're kind of excluding the kid who's literally ollied up Battle Falls.
Daniel?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I think Daniel actually could ollie the highest, but he will do what John said. That it's like a half.
low.
Yeah.
He can literally do an air trick. Like
Was it
an
Swanee
air trick ollie.
that he did up to or something?
No, he did
Retention.
it up Battle Falls and retention. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Retention was the first time
Retention
where I remember
is the one
it
I'm
was a
thinking of.
straight wall.
Yeah, that's
like
what I'm
they're-
thinking of, not Battle
they're-
Falls.
Like
Yeah.
Battle Falls, he kind of did it over the ramp. Like he didn't touch
Right.
the ramp, but he did it over it. At Ben's house at Retention, it
That's
was
what I
just
was
a
thinking of.
straight concrete wall, and it was much smaller. Like at the time, now having seen him do Battle Falls, obviously he's got way more. But I remember being legitimately worried for him as he's like getting pulled towards a flat concrete wall.
Yeah. I remember that clip and being like tripping out when it happened. I don't, remember the Battle Falls one. Also, I would, as a wakeboarder, you don't know how big those are. It really depends on the camera angle, but
I would say currently it's probably Daniel Grant for sure that can get the highest on a wake skate off of flat water.
Yeah.
If that's what we're asking.
Yeah. All good names there, though. So that was good. We got a Liquid Force wild card, so we can all answer this one. But which photographer do you think is the best in the industry currently, and who do you think is the best ever?
Bear.
Yeah, there's a debate, but currently Bear's pretty goated right now.
Yeah.
If you're talking current photographers.
I just wrote down Stefan because I just got his book he made right behind you, Johnny D, but it was like a book of, I don't know, the past 10 years or something of his shots, and I was just flipping through it, so that was a good name too, but yeah, I think Bear's
that book's awesome. I
tough.
do forget about Stefan because he's one of, if not my favorite filmer editors, so I almost like forget about all his photo stuff.
Yeah.
For me, best of all time is Josh Letchworth. Gotta be like, especially wakes like.
He was
Josh
on
has
my
had-
list of all
Josh
time
has had
too.
That's an all-time.
He's had 2 pro model wake skates. He's that legit in wake skating. Like he's so many iconic shots were his, and then we've got some other names that have like kind of gone out of wake skating that were really prevalent back in the day. Like Roland Lugo, Adam Islanian, Ian Reed, Tad.
I was gonna say all time
Matthews.
is really hard. There's
Yeah.
so many good ones.
Dude, James McGuigan.
Yeah.
He's on the, I mean, there's,
All time, I got Josh Letchworth though. I
Josh
just feel
Letchworth
like
is a good all-time, I mean, it's a safe all-time.
I mean, obviously Bear is like, especially the answer for like now,
Currently.
currently, and
Currently.
all time Bear is
the
a great
volume
answer for
from
that.
Bear, yeah.
But yeah, I feel like overall, like
Who
especially
has
just for
the
the
most
body of work in
covers,
wake,
too?
it's got to be Letchworth.
I want to say there's an aspect of photography, in my opinion, which hopefully you see in the work as well. But as a rider, like the experience with them matters a lot, and like getting the best out of the riders. And I've seen Baird like pull so much out of riders a lot of times, or like come up with a shot idea, and things like that. And so currently, I feel like he's just killing it.
All right, I got a Bear story for you about him pulling something out of me. We freaking we did that coast to coast trip, and there was a little small like gap that I saw along the way, like a drop, like a levee drop, and I was like, "Yo, like let's go hit this." So I'm on what would be my first Red Bull trip, and this was the first time during the trip that I spoke up to say, "Hey, let's film me doing something," right? So it's a wake boat, so we would have to go and like hook up a couple 100 feet of line, walk it out, and then take off with the wake boat to get down the drop. Bear's on top of the drop. I walk up there. I walk up into the top pond, and there is no bullshit 14 gators right in the top pond looking at me. And I'm like, dude, we got to shut this down. And Bear's like, He goes, you called on this. He's like, we're on a Red Bull trip. He goes, slap your fucking board on the water and get it done. And I was like, fuck, he's right. So I go up, dude, and there's this big bull alligator about 20 feet away from me. And I slap my wake skate as hard as I can on the water. It's knee deep, and it doesn't move. And he just looks at me and slowly goes under. And Bear's like,
He gave you respect.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not running from you, but
I'll get down. And then he made me walk out, and it ended up working. But I was maybe the most scared I've ever been.
one try, one and done on that.
No, I tried it a couple times. Yeah, he made me go for the make. So brutal.
You got
But
it, though?
Bear will bring that out of you.
You got it though?
Yeah.
Love it.
That's kind of how I felt at the Red Bull shoot we did with Gunther. where we're like swimming with all these gators, building these rails and stuff. And yeah, Bear just also knows how to get you as a rider to like he creates such a vibe, you know, like such a stoke and everything, where you're just like, fuck, you feel invincible. I feel like you get your tricks better. You get creative, like from his creative juices and stuff. And obviously I was witnessing that with Gunther, just like, and everything, but he's just so good at like getting the best out of people, I feel like.
Good answer.
Who's the best rider photographer? Like, I know a lot of riders are into shooting. Like, who's your favorite rider that also shoots? Like,
I mean, if you mean current rider, because Stefan.
I was gonna say Stefan.
He
He doesn't really ride as much anymore, but like, he was very good for a while.
Yeah.
Bored.
For wake skating, I'd say James.
James is Nick Taylor's a really good photographer and rider too.
Yeah.
Nick Taylor's
Yep.
solid.
He's got. I think he has. I don't know if he's ever had like a cover shot on one of the mags, but he's been on them. But he might have actually shot a cover before too. Which I wonder how many people have done that.
Shot a cover for someone and then been on a cover themselves.
Yeah.
That's
I know some
heavy
people, I forget who
box to
shot
check.
it, but I think someone like Dylan Miller or someone got a cover of RAF or something, winching and stuff. I'm pretty sure Dylan's had a couple covers, so I think there's a few, but they were more like a GoPro set up on a bridge that they took a photo with and stuff, you know, and things like that. Then like maybe as professional photographer work, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. All right, we can put that back. Thanks to Liquid Force. Thanks to Liquid Force for that. I think we dive into wake skating now. We got a couple wake skaters in here, and recently wake skating was at the X Games as a exhibition show. What's the terminology here you would call this?
I'd call it exhibition. They had it. It was like at the X Games Village. I didn't get to go, but I definitely followed along and I'm friends with all the people that put it together. So they had like a very small space to work with. I want to say it was something like 120 feet by like 22 feet. So
yeah, that's what I heard.
A dozen parking spaces in a row, basically.
100 to 120, which if you've ever hit a pool that's 40 feet, that is short.
Yeah, not 100 to 120, 20 to 100. Like,
sorry, that's what I meant.
yeah,
sorry,
like
I meant 100 to 120 long. It was only 20 wide.
But I thought they did a pretty good job with that space as far as like what you could do. I think it was cool that I had one point heard that it was maybe going to be a skimboard setup and like that's what they were.
That's what it looked like
because of the size of the space.
I got the story. I got the story after the fact.
Yeah,
let's hear it.
I went up to Elevated, sat down with Clark, and we just had some beers talking about it as the cable was closed from lightning. So it's a little bit of telephone because Clark was there, but he wasn't the one who organized it all. But he was helping a ton. So they were supposed to have like excavators or something like this, some tool, some machinery to dig in the ground. And was it Vive came in? It was actually kind of sick. Some of the execs at X Games, like one of them was hyped on wake skating. So it wasn't that they brought it. It was like Vive was like, I got, they'll just throw the number out, like $12K to do something dope. We want to do an experience for people. What do you guys think would be good for us? And then the exec guy was like, yo, wake skating could be pretty dope. I think we could do it in that budget. And then they got in contact with the list of people.
Keaton Bowlby.
They actually got in contact with Trev Maurer and Hayden, I believe, who then was like, yo, Keaton's your guy, right? And so perfect people they got reached out to, because if you reach out to the wrong person, it could be a totally different situation, right? So Keaton it was like the best people to come together. Obviously, you can see who all rode there. I think they all were part of it. But then the guy who was driving it like ended up in the hospital or something. I forget if it was a car accident or sickness or something, but he couldn't drive the machine. And then they're like, just pivoted and they had to build all the stuff like on site last second. There was supposed to be a big pile of wood for them to use.
Wow, that context is huge.
It was so they did everything scrambling last second, sheeted the whole thing, duct taping the sheets together because the liners weren't like wide enough and stuff.
I think it was the perfect thing because like the entire, like I would say a good spirit of wake skating or vibe of wake skating is DIY. Like
I thought it was.
That's very much the thing. So like those guys rolled up knowing that we're going to have to do everything here. Like I'm sure it would have been cool to have someone with an excavator laying dirt and make that, make those ponds a little easier for them. But they were prepared to do it on their own, and like they had the crew to do it, which is I think a lot of people didn't understand that.
That's why I say
when you talk about all these, there's so many cool riders.
It's so
that
pivotal that they had the right people. You know what I mean? Because if you had the wrong people and shit, as a fan, like it just might have stopped. You know, they just might not have done it. But yeah, and then they built that whole thing up, sessioned it. They're telling me like oh, we had all these plans to be. I was like, it was absolutely perfect. Like I didn't look at it and ever think like that should have been different. I thought it was
and
so
I mean,
solid.
like objectively looking at it, like it's not the craziest setup, but I saw the most like good coverage through Chris Roberts' YouTube channel, obviously, which I think we all saw. Looks sick. Like just looked like a good time.
That
dude.
YouTube video was enough to make it worth it.
Oh, 100%, dude. He was there for like over half the YouTube video was him like figuring out what wakeskating was.
The clip of Zeb alling it, like there were plenty of viral clips from it. It was such a good.
The way they received it was
so
awesome too. Chris is like, you know, I especially knowing a couple of those guys that were like a part, especially Keaton and Bammer, who were like definitely, you know, I would say Keaton mentioned that Bammer was like, you know, all the guys did work and made it happen, but he said Bammer Wren was his number 2, and you know, did a lot of things without having to be asked to do it. Those two guys are I was loving watching Chris's coverage because they're the biggest 9 Club nerds you'll ever meet. It's not shot at them. They'll admit it. Like they've literally watched not only every single episode, but they watched like the experience.
Every experience,
so, like on there, you know, they were like when I saw that they had even popped in, like I didn't get to see the whole video first. I just saw on their story that like Chris Roberts popped in. I was like, oh, I bet you they were geeking about that. Yeah. And then to see that, like, how stoked on it he was.
When you watch the video, you're like,
he spent the most time with them than he spent anywhere else, which, like, if nothing else comes from that little X Games demo, like if they never call them back to do another one, it was so worthwhile to do. Like, so many eyeballs, probably more eyeballs than have ever been on Wakeskating in a very long time. And I'm usually not one to, like, read the comments, but if you read the comments in that Chris Roberts video, it's all good thing. Like people are stoked on Wakeskating. They were stoked on all the individual riders. They were like asking him to get them on the 9 Club. They want to see Chris Wakeskate. Like if I could design my ideal like interaction from people upon like seeing a Wakeskate activation, it would be exactly what it looks like in there. Like people just genuinely hyped on it and thinking that the guys doing it seemed like cool people to spend time with too.
I think it was a very well curated group of wake skaters also. A lot of people, there was like some controversy online about people thinking they should have been invited, people thinking that they deserved to be there, and these like little spats and battles that happened, which I won't name names.
I will. It was Reed Hansen, and all Team Super came to his defense in the comments. But
how did I miss this?
To your point, it doesn't. It's an exhibition event. I don't think this was a big deal. That's my takeaway.
But also, there is a type of. It's not a skill level issue or a skill level question. It was a like Keaton put the thing on. Keaton curated a group of wake skaters that he knew were industrious, which. Also, anything I say here is not against Reed because
Reed didn't say anything.
Well, yeah, Reed didn't say anything.
He 100% deserves to be anything skating related. There's I would know.
So does Daniel Grant, Maxime Geary. Like
to argue that either of those guys don't deserve to be a part of something is a fruitless endeavor.
That is completely.
Especially Reed has like dumped everything that he's ever probably got from wake skating, went back into it. If you ever spent time at his property in Battle Falls, Reed is. If he wants to do something in wake skating, I agree. He should be able to do it. But at the end of the day, like with something like that, there has to be a cap on the heads, you know? And like,
exactly.
I think it goes back to talking about like how they were supposed to have, you know, more of the site prepped for them. The fact that obviously
none of these guys got paid to build this stuff.
Reed could build a site too.
That's
but like
that was my point.
For Reed to do something like that, he would, you know, like he usually gets paid to do those things, not paying to go and fly and do them and stuff. So I think he could have done it too. I would have loved to see Reed in it. I would have loved to see Daniel, but at some point you pick your handful of guys, and like even out of those guys, not all of them got a ton of riding time. Like
and not everyone showed up. So like to be fair, they did curate like the most of Keaton's style of wake skating that he wanted. That were like someone who would watch 9 Club or skateboarders. That was like really his like emphasis. It seemed like, and it couldn't have played out any better for that. And as we move forward, like, yes, it's likely that we're going to get invited back. It's likely that there's going to be a qualifying system to get people in there, and then everyone can come if you compete and make it in.
Yeah.
Which is great. And Reed is capable of building that thing and making it permanent in a week. Okay, so we'll just it had nothing to do with any of that. But I think Keaton did a great job of picking who he picked.
But yeah, Keaton nailed it because it wasn't that Chris Roberts and these guys connected with wake skating as much as I think they genuinely connected with the people. If you watch the edit, they bonded with these fucking riders, and like
Belsito gave him his board.
The wake skaters bonded
banter,
with all the athletes and stuff, and I think that like they are like through and through skaters, and their vibes and stuff, and that not all wake skaters are. And so I think that the fact that he picked those people made all that media happen. You're not going to ask Zeb to go do that. He did that because he was feeling the vibe and connecting with the people, like that stuff has to happen that way. And they nailed it.
Yeah, 100%.
You mentioned that Travis gave him his board. Travis made a business decision for wake skating. Shout out Travis Belsito. Like,
good move, Trav.
I think Chris, they did talk about it, and he told him Chris was like, how much are these things? But it was funny seeing Chris just shoot a shot. Like, can I have this? Like that's what I feel like fans going to the X Games, or like if they're gonna interact with them, like you're probably getting at least a couple of those where someone's asking Nyjah or someone like, hey, can I have your board?
Sure.
For like Chris Roberts to ask you for his board, like that's different, and like I don't think he realized what he was asking for. And then when he told him how much it cost, he was like, whoa, really? Like you give me this? Trav did not want to give him his wake skate. He just knows like it's good for wake skating.
Now he has it.
Exactly.
C-Rob's got to ride it.
I'm hoping I see it in the background.
I was going to say,
he can't not ride it.
I want to see it in the background of a 9 Club. Chris, if you ever stumble upon one of these videos, please throw that board up in the background. That would make it worthwhile for Trav.
And take it for a rip, dude. Take it for a rip. I mean, that would be awesome to see him wake skate. Or any of the guys in the night.
Travis has a YouTube channel now, so hopefully, maybe they do something together like that. He's kind of got the groundwork laid to do some a collaboration thing like that with Chris, and that could be his his vault into not having to compete or work for money for wake skating.
That would be awesome.
Make YouTube videos.
Love that, Belsito. That was good. So I mean, any other thoughts on the X Games thing? I think all in all, it's 10 out of 10. Super successful. I wasn't even there, but
Tip in the hat, chef's kiss. Good work. Great job, guys.
Hopefully we see more in the future. I'm sure we will, because it sounds like it went super well. So.
Yeah, shout out that whole crew putting it together. And
Seriously.
X Games. Thanks for including wake skating X Games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
I think we dive into another segment called Deserve Some Love, which is presented by Driftline. So Driftline makes wetsuit line board shorts. They keep you warm, keep you protected. Best boardies in the game. If you guys need new board shorts, get some Driftlines. Use code GRAD15 for 15% off. And I think since you guys have been on the show, I mean, you can go with whatever direction you want with this, but just maybe some things in mind that we have that deserve some love. I can go first. And I think I just saw, you guys probably saw Rivers Hedrick back 9. I don't know if you guys saw it, but this is like one of the best fucking back 9s, dude. Like I have seen in a long time.
Can we pull up the clip?
Yeah, I'll pull up the clip on the,
dude, she's freaking on it. The rewind into the wall, like everything she's been posting. It's like obviously everyone knew she had the sickest style, but now it's like just tech hit after tech hit. The flip on the transfer.
No woman has done a back 9.
But Julia Rick's definitely done one.
Julia Rick's done it.
Has anybody else? Any other ladies done back 9?
I don't know about heel back 9.
Ladies in the 9s are going posted off now, though, too. Like,
that other
didn't Amber Wing had like a long run of being the only woman ever do it, and now like they're just hammering.
It had been a long time. There's this. I'll pull it up on the TV actually. But.
Yeah, the lack of pre-spin, like it's pretty amazing.
And the stomp, dude, is like it's
just like as proper as it gets.
Heel side, backside, I feel like the pre-spin is like doesn't really help you, at least from my perspective.
Depends. Some people have learned how to like pre-spin into the back.
It's the opposite way,
hard.
right? You like almost front shifty up the kick.
That's how I learned it.
Up and then get a little yank.
That's how I learned it. But no, some people have learned to keep. It's just hard to balance when you pre-spin a back 9. But riders have learned how to do it, and I've seen many riders leave at a full back lip, like 90 up it. Yeah. With the handle already like touching both hands and stuff. So there is ways to do it, but it's
usually toe side, back side.
But yeah, I mean, like toe side's easier to pre-spin.
So this one right here. Yeah, I'll put the clip in here, obviously.
Oh. Dude, she's going to be able to grab that.
Oh, yeah. Zero pre-spin.
She's going to do it.
And just stomped like no other.
So, I feel
I mean, there's like, a little bit of arm up in the air, but like it's so perfect. I don't know.
I love your comment on the post. I feel like she has been working so hard for so long and on not just the style and like, you know, now everyone's like seeing that pay off with like, that's not the only clip she's put out in the last month. It's been insane.
No, and I feel like sometimes you can tell when someone gets lucky on a trick where they're like, okay, that's not repeatable. Like you're probably not going to do that again for a while. But like that to me looks like that's going to be in a contest run within the next couple of years.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's my deserve some love. I don't know anybody is thinking of anything else after, but
is you think she's like, is that like the future reigning like I have not seen a back nine.
Women's
like
wakeboarding.
She about to dominate the wakes like
women's wakeboarding.
We can just women's wakeboarding needs some love, dude. It is insane on cable right now. It is,
dude.
nuts.
And this girl Julia on the boat is
it's insane on boat. Yeah, it's all over. It's just
she
crazy.
just did that 9 perfect.
Yep.
I think boat's getting more visibility though than the amount of women I'm seeing at events that are just like insane, but like they're getting fourth because there's so many of them. They like.
I've seen a bunch of double.
You wouldn't expect that run a year ago if you were like, that girl is going to do this run next year. You'd be like, yeah, nah. And then she's getting fourth with it. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a lot of girls were out last year too. So I think you're also seeing this flex of like, just a lot of girls coming back, a lot of young girls. It's
Speaking
crazy.
of women's wakeboarding, my deserve some love would be Kathy Williams.
Hey, that's a good one.
Doing a fantastic job of managing the event this weekend.
USA Wakeboard.
USA Wakeboard and handling, you know, hundreds of different personalities of wakeboarders, their parents, and really just putting it all out there for the love of the sport. So thanks, Kathy. Doing great.
That's a really good one. Appreciate that. TJ, you got anything? Deserve some love?
Deserve some love, yeah.
Anything,
not like
anyone?
Sponsors, just people. My fiance, Maria. Hopefully she'll watch this. That's my top.
She better watch it.
Family, obviously. And then my deserve some love for my entire Wakeskate career would be Nick Taylor, right at the top. I got to travel places and do things, not because I was getting paid, but because he had budget to go somewhere and I was along, you know, in his crew. So
Yeah.
Nick, I wouldn't have had a Wakeskate career without him. And Andrew Pastura, same thing.
Couple of big names right there.
A decade of my career was spent riding Water Monster board. I'm still riding them, but I rode for him for a long time. And yeah, he again would not have been here and doing this without him. And Ben Horan too, another one. Like got all of like all these guys had like Nike board, like the things that would make wake skating a little less attainable. Like they helped me with that in a time when I couldn't afford them and allowed me to be able to wake skate and enjoy it. And I feel like it's not a unique story. It's kind of the whatever we have in wake skating, usually we spread it around to make it work so that we can have a sport. And like those guys, especially Nick and Ben and Reed, like they've been like some of the best wake skaters in the world, but they've also facilitated wake skating in ways behind the scenes that a lot of people don't realize. Like the Wake Skate Tour, probably the best wake skate contest that was ever a thing. Silas Thurman and Ryan Dahlem put it on, but Reed, Nick, and Ben all were like also a part of starting that and had to build the venues for them to do it and did that out of their own pocket. So
yeah,
like when we were talking about who deserves to do things like this, like of course Reed is at the top of that list. He has poured his heart and soul into it, just like, you know, Nick has done it, Ben has done it, Andrew has done it, not in ways of holding contests at his spot, but by having a company that sponsors other riders. Like there's way more people, but those for sure, those guys.
That's like a big three of wake skating right there. That's
big
cool.
four.
Or big four, yeah, big four.
Nick, Ben, Reed, Andrew.
Love that. I think we dive into some Instagram questions. So we got one here from Mats Van Hauer. And he says, should a sponsor force you to wear a life jacket?
There's a little backstory, but it's just in Germany, some guys are getting pushed into or getting dropped or threatened to get dropped because they're not wearing a life jacket. So it's a thing. And I have my thoughts, but I'll let you guys go first.
Well, I feel like a magazine can force you to do it, like in the sense that they won't run your photos if you're not wearing it. And if you're sponsored by a life jacket company, you should probably wear the product that you're being paid to use.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's situationally, it depends.
Yeah.
I used to my opinion and perspective on it used to be way different when I was younger and like wasn't really paying attention to
Move
as
the
many
mic like 2 inches that way.
as many things.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you.
But yeah, like now I feel like, and I actually had this conversation recently with Travis Belcito, because he's, you know, been working with Sea-Doo a little bit. Like, I don't think he has his own Sea-Doos yet. I think that's his goal. But he posted some clips bare chest, and like I have definitely had videos that I like made where, you know, we put a lot of work into it, posted videos and sent them to, you know, different media outlets. I'm not going to name anyone, and had the entire video rejected because one clip had someone, you know, bare. And I used to think that was wrong. I felt, you know, like I was kind of ripped off for that. But like from a, you know, whoever's sponsoring it, whether it's, you know, if you're trying to get a Sea-Doo, they can't use any of the content you're making if you're not wearing one. Like, whether you like that or not, like that's not them deciding. There are laws to ride them. So like, if you want to work with a company and get stuff, and, you know, whether it's money, whether it's, you know, a vessel, whatever, I don't think it's unreasonable to have to, or to not even have to want to wear a vest in it, because otherwise your content, you're not bringing nearly as much value to the table with them. That's why they have you there, to make their products look good. If they can't even post what you're doing because you're not wearing a vest, like no matter how uncool it is, like I get that from you know, if it was my vessel that I was trying to sell and I couldn't use photos of Trav because he was out there bare chesting it, like I know that it feels better to take a set like that, and he's only riding in ankle deep water. But Sea-Doo can't explain that to every customer that might view it, you know? So we had a chat, and he was fully on board with it. He was like, yeah, I just didn't think about it from that perspective. I just thought it's ankle deep water. I know it's, you know, there is an argument for both sides, but he didn't even think twice about it. You won't probably see another clip of Trav not wearing a vest. He like just was like, yeah, absolutely, I'm on with that.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that all makes sense, and especially what you said, if you're on a life jacket brand, you got to wear the life jacket. If you really hate how it looks, which I personally do hate how life jackets look, no matter what, put a shirt over it.
Yeah, shirt is bare
shirt
minimum.
or a jacket.
Well, I thought you meant the way it looks with a shirt over. I was like, hey, they're so
no.
thin.
If I see the life jacket,
them.
I do not like the clip as much as if I didn't see the life jacket.
Yeah, I have that stance.
It's just normal. I feel like that's not a wild stance. You just look better with a shirt over it because it just looks like everyday clothes.
Yeah.
So that'd be my stance on it.
I think I said that weird at the beginning. I don't have that many thoughts as much as I have more context to it. So I was kind of like you, where I was like, you know, I don't know, do what you want kind of thing. I mean, especially back in the day, I felt like it was different. There's obviously the situation where it's been talked about on the podcast, but a pro wakeboarder passed away from not wearing a life jacket. So I think a lot of people in the industry have some personal connection with that, which is like understandable, you know? I think that on the flip side, like when I first went to WSIA and went to the first meeting, my mind was completely blown by like the stuff they have to deal with and the amount of people and resources and effort that goes into like flying around the country. Kevco talked a little bit about this, to like go meet with government officials. And like, I mean, I was on a meeting last week where they're just like talking about like, we went to this court and we went to that court and this state and that state. And it's like almost every state that people are flying to fight to keep boats on the water. And I think the best example is this happened in wake surfing, where people would go stride the boat, someone's hiding under a passenger seat or whatever, and they're wake surfing and they're like acting like no one's in the boat. And then someone did that. There was a fan who saw the clip, crashed a boat, huge lawsuit. Now there's ammunition for boats to get banned from lakes. And so these things are real, and every single death that happens on a boat and every single thing like that, first of all, they're tragic, but second of all, that's like so much harder to keep boats on lakes. So I think there's a huge aspect in the industry that people, first of all, there's a big communication disconnect with the brands and the riders. And I think that's a big problem we need to fix. But it's like the brands have some reason for feeling that way that is like justifiable for the survival of the sport. And then, you know, whether they even think it matters, but like there's reasons why. And then athletes don't know the reason. So then they're getting like threatened to get dropped and stuff. And they're getting like pissed at each other, you know? And it's like, I feel like the brands should give the riders that are in the industry currently a little bit more credit. I think with the lack of money in the industry, it's almost become a good thing where it's like everyone who's in the industry like loves it, wants to be in it, wants it to grow. And I think if riders understood that, they would think more. That being said, I posted a clip 2 weeks ago, not wearing a life jacket, so I'm a little hypocritical in that. I was
He's just trying to up his
Were you wearing
core.
a
He's
shirt?
trying to up his core.
I was wearing a shirt.
Smoke cigs.
That's always been like common knowledge. I feel like at least we're not advertising that generally as a sport.
A lot
but
of
that
riders,
was kind of my point.
everybody
like,
knows like that in some photos. Like if you're a rider, you can tell that Raph wasn't wearing a vest under the shirt.
The
but like
bare chest
the fact
is
that you
too
tried,
far.
yeah. When you're bare chesting it, you're advertising it to everyone. I don't wear anything
Yeah,
under here. You
which-
leave nothing to
freaking
imagine.
posted a
like,
clip winching that way too, but it's like I think there's a little bit of context, and I do think winching right
circumstances
next,
are totally different, dude.
right
like,
next to shore. Like
yeah, it's different than being 85 feet back on a G and you like face plant and then you're at the bottom of the lake before anybody can even get back to you. Like,
yeah, it's not that I'm taking a hard stance one way or another. There's just a lot of context, and I just wish we, as an industry, did a little bit better about communicating about the struggles that are happening that I'm seeing on that level. That I just like was like, wow, why have I was already involved in the industry. Why did I didn't know this was a thing? Like it completely changed the way I posted clips and thought about things.
All right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Here's why that all does make sense. And ethically, of course, you want to set a good example, but this is why it might all be total bullshit. Trick skiing. Never wear a life jacket, ever. No one has any problem. Everyone post them up, go for it, wrap a rope around yourself. No vest, cool. Surfing. No problems at all. Run it. Never wearing a life jacket.
like real surfing, right?
Real surfing,
Yeah.
wave surfing,
Yeah.
over a literal rock reef with razor blades basically attached to it. No one's got a problem with that. But then we want to do it behind a boat.
The skiing thing makes sense. The surfing thing's a little different because again, you can't ban. I mean, you could technically ban surfing, but like they're trying to ban boats and they're not banning them for the life jackets, but it's just giving them more ammunition. And then I think that with the wake surfing thing, it's crazy. There's a literal law that allows that. Like it's legal that if they're like training for an event or sorry, not wake surfing, trick skiing.
Yeah, trick skiing.
There's like a law
it's written in that
passed
you don't
for
have to.
that, which is crazy. But it's a little different. But I agree with you that it's. I don't know if it's actually causing a problem, but I don't think it's helping anything that we ride bare chested on a boat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Trick skiing is a lot slower too, so that helps a little bit, I guess. But
Other than I thought this not being a communist state.
Hey, I did it. I'm not. I'm just providing perspective.
I mean, that is a good devil's advocate. Do whatever you want.
the
It's your
question
right,
was like, should brands be allowed to?
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that's where like force in the
think
terms
force is
they're
too
not
much.
forcing like. And you brought something up about people being warned. I think you're lucky. You had to be a pretty high caliber rider to ever get a warning. I guarantee you there's way more people than even realize it that have been ghosted by companies or straight up like axed and told. But ghosting, I feel like, is the more common thing you would see happening.
Sure.
Well, it's
Because
behind the door. Yeah.
because they posted that, they just wouldn't hear back from their TM or something like. And it's if you got the warning, it's probably because you were a higher profile person enough that they were like, we're not going to lose this guy.
You're
because of it,
valuable.
but let's tell him.
Yeah.
But the other guys that are like guys and girls that have been, right on the fringe trying to get that first contract or trying to go from flow to
shoot
having a
yourself in the
deal. Like
foot,
if you post a clip, like, and you're on the verge of getting like, that's the difference. Like you're probably not getting the contract unless it's like a one and done thing and you don't do it very often.
I've heard the amount of times I've heard brands tell me that they didn't pick up someone or didn't re-sign someone because of something that the rider would think is so trivial is like, but it mattered to the brand, like something like that,
Sure.
Usually nobody tells
or
them
like a
either,
life
'cause
jacket
that's-
company. That,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is very true.
You got to
They
put
don't
yourself
tell
in the
them.
brand's perspective too, because the brands all make life jackets. Almost all of them make life jackets. So that's another product that you should be helping sell. Whether or not you signed a contract for that part of your deal, like, is kind of not that big of a deal. I feel like just if you really hate it, put a shirt over it. Like wear a comp vest, put a shirt over it.
Also, just to clear it up, I 100% am a life jacket advocate and wear one myself and kind of am a little dicky when it comes to making everyone wear one on my boat. To be fair.
Oh, for sure.
You're above your
You
rules,
are
man.
not getting behind my boat, even wake surfing without a life jacket.
Right.
My wife is like, oh, do I really need to wear it? I'm like, yeah. I'm driving. I know nothing's going to happen, but
Yeah. Be safe. Wear your life jacket out there. That's easy
on a boat or a cable, I don't think I've ever rode a cable with a life jacket without pads. I don't think I have rode a boat once before the WSA meeting. I posted a story clip, and then after that, I was like, I'm never going to post another thing like that just because I know how big of a problem it could be in those situations.
Are you doing all these no life jacket clips for the core score? Like, what's the reason why you're doing all these no life jacket
one-
clips?
That's a
Just
great
smoke some
question.
cigs, dude. Like, that's the easy way to the core score up.
Dude, I wasn't trying to show that I didn't have a life jacket. One of them, I don't even think I had a life jacket on me.
That's why he's concerned about it.
I
flew
didn't
halfway
even
around
want
the
to point it
world
out.
to
I just didn't want to be a hypocrite.
not wear a vest and a helmet at a cable park, like because there's where can you even do that? Like,
And where
so
can you do that
free.
now?
unless you know, so you work at a
Yeah.
park or like really are in, and even then, like you're probably doing it when the owner doesn't know about it. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I definitely went to
Like-
CWC because I was like, I want to go there and film a part and get clips like just in a t-shirt and nothing.
It's me and the skate.
And
yeah.
the foot, like as much as now I'm like, yeah, I don't know if the what like we were getting out of it versus the cost. Like now I don't feel as strongly about it, but
Yeah.
I would be lying if I said I don't love to watch footage of like Andrew or Max or somebody just
Look, it's
rip
a
around a
freaking
cable
art.
in a
It's
t-shirt.
an
It
art.
is, dude, and
I'm
that's where the
I'm
art
not
thing comes
advocating
in,
for. I'm
like-
not saying everybody should go do that, and I don't like. I see why parks don't allow it, but like, I don't. There's even a wakeboarder that I like watching that, and he tends to not wear a vest and a helmet, and I feel like part of the reason why I like his footage is because like it. It's
think I know what
like
you're
it's like
talking about.
watching a bowl skater. Like usually people skate transition and especially in concrete and pads. When you see someone skating just like raw dogging it, like
No
it
pads.
looks like a superpower. And yeah,
I think winching, I feel like that's to me the exception, which is why it's the only time I do it, because you're not at someone's facility, you're not on someone else's boat. There's
are you ever bare chesting winching, like blasting no shirt?
not
That seems like like a liability. Like you're probably
the-
landing in
sun at
shallow
that point.
water.
At the
like-
beach, I
want the
winched.
shirt.
At the beach, I winched the other day. Hit a kicker, did a tension blind, and I was bare chested
blind.
at the beach.
Oh, that beach winching is the only I think like for me where I would be like, yeah, I might bare chest a puller too at beach winching, walking in ankle deep water. Like
That's skimboarding, dude. You're
Yeah.
fine.
But again, you're already illegal on the winch. There's a few other
is
factors.
there a law that says we are not allowed to be out there on the beach winching?
No, you can probably winch on the beach. It like depends what you're hitting. You're probably doing something illegal.
They could probably- they
trespassing,
get you
hitting
out of
something.
there.
I honestly
don't think
feel
that
like
you're
I'm,
required to wear any sort of protective.
No, you're
gear
not.
while
I-
winching because there's
international
literally
waters
no-
out there, dude.
There's nothing for
That's
it.
what I'm trying to say.
A
It's
merchant
like
mariner out here.
trick skiing. I don't think you're breaking a law. I don't think you're messing with someone else's business.
All right.
But-
I like that. I think we hammered that one home. That's a good, yeah. Everybody wear your life jacket. But I think you said you're one of your favorite riders. I mean, get some clips. No helmet, no vest.
You said you knew who it was.
Is
Who
it Sam De Haan?
Yeah, for sure.
So we got a.
It ain't just because of the no helmet.
He's
no
got
vest.
some
that
fucking
lemonade, the
swag,
lemonade normal,
dude.
like the filming,
Filming
the
is
way that they
insane.
film, like it, like when
Is
they
that
were
the
doing
black
the,
and
they
white
were
boot
doing the
guy?
dual winching stuff like with each
I think
other.
so.
Those clips were I'd borderline
The
say
double winch, yeah, it's
revolutionary,
crazy
So
stuff,
those
yeah.
clips were like the angle that you were getting was nothing we've ever seen before.
But anyways, we got a voice question from him.
Hey, what's up, everyone on the Grab Matters podcast? I think we should talk about grabbing a rail before doing a step up.
Let's go.
So let's say you hit a rail and you drop down in the box and then you want to step back up to the rail, but you're not going to come back, so you grab the rail to do your step up. Yeah, what do we think about that?
Do you guys are you guys understanding what?
Yeah, and now
picking up what he's putting down?
Your mid
Yep.
thing that you did. Yeah, I get it.
Like when you grab on, so you're on the loop deep beside it kind of
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah, and you're using it to pull yourself back in to where you can now ollie back
Even
onto
if
the
you
rail.
don't use it, it just looks whack.
I
It
feel
looks
like
bad.
while you're learning some sort of line or like a transfer or something, it works. But for sure, like if two people did the same thing and one person touched it, like we know why you're touching it because you were gonna.
He's
fall
talking
off.
contest. I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's talking contest. There's probably a long list of these kind of things that we all talk about that I feel like people don't even see. But it's like, yeah, when someone's in a contest and one rider's doing it proper and one rider's not, it's to us it's like pre-spinning. You don't do it, you get scored. You should get scored a lot less if you do it. I don't know that all judges do that, but it's like pre-spinning. Like you still did the trick, but you pre-spun it. You each did or you did whatever.
It's an interesting topic because it is like pre-spinning in a way, but it's like you're literally grabbing the rail or the feature to like get onto it better.
Most people aren't. It's more of a safety thing a lot of times where it's a comfort thing. Maybe when they learned it, they grabbed it until they have this habit. But I will say there's a lot of times riders are just putting their hand on the rail and feeling it, or you land and you kind of have some impact. Say you do a back three to a hallway, you kind of have that impact and you're almost bracing yourself. Even that is just as bad in my book as
I guess
actually,
it's
I mean, it's not as bad because
you could still get up on it without it.
You shouldn't do either.
Is there like one person that does this particularly?
There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people. There's a few people that don't do this, and that would be, again, everyone does it when they're learning or when they are not doing it the perfect way, and you're in a contest and whatever. But there's Trent, Gavin, Joe, riders like Sam. Timo's pretty good about not doing it. Like
you say, Trent does it.
I was gonna say I've seen him do it at the park.
They do it, but
on hard stuff that you can't do it otherwise.
But
yeah.
Everyone does it, but those riders.
I feel like I've seen Trent do it the most.
I don't know.
I mean, if I'm being honest, like
Gavin definitely is very intentional about avoiding it. But sure, I've seen clips of him doing it. You have contest makes, There's everyone does contest makes, but if it comes to grab the rail and pull yourself on, or not grab the rail, and
I'm grabbing that rail to get myself on and get that
is
contest
the trick
pass.
possible without doing it?
Yeah,
because there's some lines that like you're not stopping, like you're not stopping your momentum without touching it. I've seen it before where I'm like, or it might be possible, but no one is probably going to do it, especially not in a contest. But in the sense of a contest, does it even really matter unless if Dave or Ian is not there with the drone, you're not going to see it anyways.
I think you see it.
You do?
I see it. If you know it's a thing, you see it.
You know which, because as a right, which rails they would be doing it on.
Exactly.
So
You know exactly what
I never even noticed it until I started
circumstances.
seeing drone clips where they're that close where I'm like, oh, look, he like held his hand on the outside of that to not fall off.
The MASH rail at 313 and my rail at Nona are the two rails you're going to do all the time because the height of the rail is there, like it's at your waist, like this boxed rail is a bit higher. And also that means you have to get like way higher to get up and over it and stuff. Like it's a more technical line. And at 313 on the MASH rail, pretty much everyone did it or does it. But I know free riding with the guys I named that if they touch the rail, they do it again the next lap without touching the rail. Of course they're going to touch it in a contest. Everyone's going to touch it in a contest. And Trent, if he's doing the hardest trick, probably is more likely to do it. But a lot of guys.
I'm not calling Trent out. I'm just saying I've definitely seen him do it.
I think Trent did front three into the hallway into the MASH rail handle pass, which is mental. Only him and Timo, the only riders I've ever seen do that trick. And he stepped back up, and I definitely saw clips not touching the rail.
So really, he's just asking you if the grab matters.
That was a great pull. That was a really good one. I would say you should never post a clip of you grabbing the rail, but if you're in a contest and you're trying to get to the next round and it's either you're not gonna get this hit or you're gonna get this hit.
But I think there's always every year there's something like this where the riders are being really intentional to try not to touch the rail or try not to pre-spin or whatever, and the judging is a step behind, or no one else knows, and and then there's the riders who say I'm just gonna post it because I'm too lazy to do it again, or because I know like it's gonna get just as many likes. But then there's a lot of guys that
it'll get one less like.
All the pros know.
I can think of like a clip in Wakeskating where it happens where like I liked it better because there was like a little like hand touch on something that I don't think it helped or didn't help the trick. It was just there's a clip of Matt Hooker. It's one of his like enders in the film More Than Machines, and he does a front board on this like out ledge. It's called Oak Leaf. I think it's in Jacksonville. It's a big drop. But there's like, maybe like a 10-foot ledge that goes out. But there's a wall that runs like the whole top pond has a wall. And the wall ends where the top pool ends. So you have to like hug this wall to get out to, the ledge that's there. And like as he's approaching it, he just pops and there's like the clip. It's just like his hand like brushes the top of the top ledge, I don't know whether it helped him or not, but cool. I can like hear that part of the clip of like his fingers dragging like as it went off, and they like kind of emphasized it in the clip, and I thought it added to it, not taking away. But
there's always that debate on filming, like if it's too perfect, is it boring? You got the Canadian like Montreal snowboard crew that's like that, and almost I like that style of it being too perfect, but a lot of people
where it comes back to an art, dude.
Yeah,
it's that's a good question. Yeah, I think it's kind of to each their own there. Like, I don't think it negates the hit. Like, it doesn't make the trick not count. But if there's someone who doesn't do it and there's someone who does do it, the person who doesn't do it absolutely is going to move through.
If you're pulling yourself back in, you should be losing points for it. If you're touching it, I think this year I get not scoring it less. But in future years, I do think that should become a thing.
If I was judging it, I would defer to what you said earlier, that especially if I knew the rider, and usually even if you don't know them that well, if you watch practice, if I thought if they landed that and they used their hand to stay on it, if they were going to go around and do it again, I'm usually going to take something, whether, maybe not disqualify the entire trick, but it's definitely going to be docked, whether depending on the judging system, either like, a minus or actually take some, percentage of points away.
It could be the same as when you do a back three to nose press, but you land 50, then press. Like, obviously.
Well, you just have to not count the press, right? Like,
it's one of those things that can't be like a hard rule
kind of
because
like
there's something you could do cool with it.
True.
But like, if it was,
has to be room
if
for
it was
creativity.
to save the trick, like if you would have gone around and done it again to take that out of it, then it should. I don't think it should be overlooked if you're competing.
I think that's a great way to put it. It shouldn't be overlooked. I like that. And now for a quick word from the Canvas Shop, which is home to skiboatcovers.com. So if you need a ski boat cover, skiboatcovers.com is the place to go. Family owned for almost 50 years, they have been manufacturing top quality, custom-fitted, American-made covers for ski and wake boats. Perfect for enthusiasts of all things water sports. Made with durable, weather-resistant materials, their covers are built to outlast factory covers and competitors' covers alike, while also protecting your boat from the elements, ensuring it stays in pristine condition year-round. They are easy to install and designed to fit perfectly for any boat. Don't let the sun, rain, debris, or anything else ruin your boat. Cover your boat. Get a nice cover for your boat from skiboatcovers.com. Use code GRAB50 for $50 off, and make sure to keep your boat protected. We got another Instagram question from Ripley Leach, and he's wondering what the best materials to use to float a homemade winch kicker are.
Styrofoam.
Foam.
I think he's looking for maybe some specifics.
The specific would be, I forget is it just insulation foam is the word? The 4x8 blocks you buy at Home Depot that you put in your wall. That to me is the best way to build a kicker if you're looking for easy and cheap. It's
and maybe he's looking
$20.
for how many of them do you need?
You get 1 inch. You can buy 2 inches. 1 inch will work. If you want more pop out of the kicker, 2 inches, 2 1-inch sheets, and you can tape them together. You throw it up in there. You build the frame around that. That's kind of the base of your kicker is those 4x8 sheets. Now, a lot of times we'll build 4x8 for the plywood, and the bottom is just under 4x8, so you kind of cut down the side of it, and then you have to duct tape it.
You're containing the foam though,
you're building a box around the foam with wood. Almost every winch kicker you're gonna see in America is built this way because we got those at Foam Depot for $20, and then when they break, you just get a new one, and you just kind of take a jigsaw.
I feel like
and cut down the side.
Everybody's first DIY kicker though, it's never foam. It's always the blue barrels. Somebody's neighbor has blue barrels or something. Like, I feel like that, unless this person is a pretty established rider, I feel like they're probably asking because they have access to barrels or something.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Oh, you want that?
Is that the word? Insulation
Poly
foam?
Pro.
Yeah.
Barrels are
exactly.
Poly Pro. That's okay. That's what.
Barrels are teetery. For sure, it'll technically work, but save yourself the time. Skip the barrels.
And foam's not expensive.
Or the Formula NGX.
$15, 1 inch by 48 inch by 8 inch, or 3.85 insulation foam at Home Depot. $15.
There you go.
That's what it is.
Locked in. There you go, Ripley Leach. You can get your winch kicker all set up.
You have equivalents most places in the world, I think.
Yeah, for sure. We got another one from Graham Burris.
Use 2 of them, I would say, just so you don't lose the pop. You'd rather be able to pop harder by pushing than make the kicker steep enough.
Yeah. So we got one from Graham here, and he just wants our thoughts on 30 kilometers an hour becoming the standard at cables.
What's that in mph?
Speed.
32 is 19.8. 30 is probably around I don't know, 19, 18 point.
Probably a little below 19.
Yeah.
But
is that slower than average?
32 is the standard pro speed in my opinion.
Well, I
think 32 is
should
good.
Be. Yeah, I love a 32.
It's 18.6 now. 30 is 18.6. 32 is what OWF ran at until they rate. Yeah, it's slow.
18 miles an hour is too slow for a big boy like me.
Until they raised the cable, they were running 32, but the beginner cable was running 24, 25 most of the time, and the gap was too big. So one thing that was discussed amongst a lot of people was narrowing the gap. So now the beginner cable runs 27 and the advanced cable runs 30.5. And I think it depends on your cable. So much depends on your cable. Meaning, if it's a modern new cable, you can get away with 30.5. Nona runs 30, and it doesn't feel bad. The kickers feel massive.
Felt slow.
Still.
I read it Nona today for the first time.
Well, as a wake,
they're gonna
a little slow.
They're gonna have a more
as a wake skater, it's
significant noticeable difference than us
because it doesn't. It matters on landings. I feel like landings hurt more for sure at 30.5 or 30. Obviously, if you have a higher cable with the right length of rope, that also counters that, which is why it's fine. You also sit higher on the water when the rope angle is...
Footage looks better going faster. There's less water being displaced. When you're sitting deeper in the water, you're getting more spray. Like the faster you go, you're having less spray being tossed around. Like
I'm on the 32 boat all day. I'm just explaining why OWF changed it, and I do understand parks going to 30 to make it better for people who are new to the sport, to make the corners, those type of things. The crashes are less bad, but
30 is fast enough though.
32.
Like if that's what you said Nona's running,
yeah,
it's fast enough. But exactly. There's like some tricks, especially a flats trick, like a flip trick where
like a 3 flip, you want more speed.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick little aggressive edge or something. Are smaller.
My rail's really hard at Nona, in my opinion, with the chop as well as the speed to make the ollie on for most intermediate riders. Because
that's where I notice it's the
harder,
ollie.
Slower.
It's very, and I feel like it's harder to get to the end of the rails.
I think
get more
a lot
exhausted too because I'm just like literally moving slower in the water and having to use more
presses are better, but it's harder to get to the end of the rails. A lot of transfers, a lot of gaps, a lot of things are just a little bit too hard for most people. I feel like at 30, obviously all that stuff will adjust as speeds. I mean, Germany's been 30 for so long now, and it's never been a problem for people.
I mean, the thing is, like, you will get used to it as a wakeboarder. I think it's different wakeskating because your boards are so much smaller that every little bit, I think, makes a much bigger difference.
I wonder if Graham wants, like, I wish he would have, did he give his...
He probably wants to ride at 40.
I don't think there's any way, Graham, please tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong. I don't think there's any way Graham likes 30.
He's petitioning for 30.
He might understand
He
30,
gets it, I'm sure.
But... I don't know any rider that's not like a 13-year-old kid who grew up on 30 and is light that actually thinks 30 is...
Once you know what you're doing, you want to ride 32. But
that doesn't mean cable should run 32, but it
on
feels
a wakeboard,
better if you're a good rider.
At least you can get like a significantly bigger board and then get used to the bigger board, and I think that will help a lot. Like I ride a 56 at 30, and it's way better than like a 52 at 30.
Yeah, things will adjust. I like the 30 and a half move that OWF did specifically because I feel it will move people to the advanced cable, get them progressing quicker. XLs feel too big at 30 and a half, which I never thought
XLs feel too big at any speed.
I thought XLs, I wanted a double XL for almost the whole time I was wakeboarding, and everyone was like, in Germany and Europe, was like, XLs are too big. And then I ride at 30, and I'm like, now I know why you think XLs are too big. And I'll tell you, like, winching, one click on the re-winch faster is the difference between landing a trick and not on a lot of spots. And so I do think that it's tough on XLs. But I think that things will start being designed to fit 30 better, like bigger boards and like things adapt.
Yeah, and you get used to it at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, it's not ideal, but you get used to it. I think it's time we dive into another segment, and the segment is presented by Fatsac. So it's the Fast 5 presented by Fatsac. We know Fatsac makes the best ballast bags, for the boat, but they also make this 50-pound bag that's super easy to fill up. It's great for pretty much every boat. Every boat owner who's doing towed water sports, I think, should have one of these on the boat because you can fill a couple of these up, move them around, get the wake perfectly clean, or even get a bunch of them on there and, juice the wake up nice and big. Use code GRAB15 for 15% off. Link in the show notes if you guys are interested in getting one of these. So Fast 5 is going to be rapid fire, 5 questions. And we're just going to go around the table. So I'll start with Jake. Kickflip or heel flip?
For myself or watching? Kickflip.
To do, yeah.
Kickflip.
TJ?
Oh, it's kickflip. I can't heel flip. I want to. That's on the list to learn this year. I'm gonna do heel flip this year.
I guess for you to watch.
Ben Hur and kickflip.
Okay. Great answer.
Or Ben heel flip.
Yeah, Ben heel flip.
Yeah.
Pretty good too.
His heel flip. He's like the only person that really flicks a heel flip, and it's kind of insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a toss up.
Second one, Jake, we got boat or cable?
Boat.
Cable.
Okay. Third one, who has the best 360 on a skate? So not 360 flip, but 360.
Leo Labadins.
Tim Van Dorment.
Nice.
There's a guy, you guys don't know who I'm talking about. It's his Instagram was like Island Time 941.
Andrew
we know him very well.
Yeah. I was gonna say you know his name. I don't know his name, but damn, I think it's him who did like ollie threes on a 2.0 once, just straight in the front, and I was like, that's insane. And then same with the kid Clement.
Yeah, his were switched, but switch 360 like over
the kicker.
an adult human.
Just ollie straight up. beautiful.
Does Maxime Geary, does he do those regular or switch?
He can do them both ways, but his the one you're used to seeing him do is a switch 3.
Okay. So, when is the last time you grabbed Tindy? I don't really know if this applies to wake skating as much.
Tindy?
Is there even Tindy on a wake skate?
What is that one exactly?
Between your feet and your tail.
I will do one next time I ride. I don't think I've ever. That's an easy like MBD for myself on a wake skate. I've never done one, so I will. But it would have been on a wakeboard when I was like probably like 15 or something.
Okay. Yeah, I'm saying this is a long time.
I just didn't know any better, so that's I feel like that's the most natural grab.
Oh, it is. It's really easy. Yeah,
she's right there. It's here in the front, and you can pull the tail up to you to get it easier. Like there's a reason why that one's like frowned upon because it's the lowest of the lowest.
It looks bad. It looks so bad.
I think I fixed it, but when I'm scared or nervous, like going early on like a flip to a rail or something, I was tending to grab Tindy, and I think I fixed it now. And I definitely, before I film the clip and I get comfortable, I make sure I'm watching my hand go between the feet. But for some reason, like tantrum into a pool or something, like I'm just like, when I'm rushing it, I reach far.
You don't get right in between the feet. Yeah. I did.
It's a further reach going straight in between than it is to reach.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know if it's more because I'm like arching my back a little bit too much and less tucking, and then that makes it. I don't know. It's just a habit, like sloppy habit that I've fixed, I believe.
Hope so. Fifth and final one, Jake. Do you stretch before you ride?
Yeah. Okay. I have like a little routine.
Pretty minimal. Like I might do like a squat or two, and it's a shoulder. I'll do a little shoulder rotation, but
it's
like
literally exactly
I don't have like a full routine. I think,
but you're doing something.
I love the idea of having a full routine, and I should, being like pushing 40 now. But no, I'll rock right out of the car. Quick one of these, up and down, and we're out there.
Okay.
Stretch a couple of times a day. Not always at the cable right before I ride, but every single morning, the first thing I do pretty much when I'm sitting at the desk and I get bored of something, like I'm stretching all the time. And I do have a routine. It's more like a mobility thing, and I actually got it from Dom Hernler and Felix from like Red Bull guys, but it has changed my life, to be honest.
I do stretch like in regular
but
life,
only the
not
right
before
thing.
Riding though.
Like only the right, like these are specific movements.
Did you mean like, do you stretch before you ride?
Yeah, like you are at the cable and you're doing a 15-minute stretching routine.
Yeah. Well, if I'm riding cable, I'm gonna stretch out like proper, like 45-second holds and everything.
Okay.
If you see me at the cable in the last year, there's over a 50% chance you see me do some kooky stretch, and I get made fun of by some grom, and I'm like,
it would be me making fun of you. I've never stretched before.
Like, welcome to my age. You're gonna do it too.
I think it's something. Yeah, you'll everyone, no matter what,
you'll
will grow into it eventually because like are you gonna keep riding or you're like, is it gonna hurt too much?
Yeah, that's fair.
I can't ride if I don't sometimes. Like it's the difference between my back hurting or not hurting.
We got a Patreon question. So thanks, Fatsac, for that fast five. But we got a Patreon question from Josh Dahlheimer, and he's wondering, should there be a one-stop place for all things wake and wake skate for events, contests, grassroots, everything, to kind of unify the sport as a whole?
No.
Yeah, I kind of
go
agree.
Off King.
I feel like we can be spread. I don't think there's anywhere that either of them shouldn't be. But like I don't think that they like need to. That the best possible thing is for everything to be under.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
That's
agree with that as a statement, but I think what he's getting at is that we have the opposite problem right now, where there's really nothing like there was with Alliance or there is with Thrasher or things like that. Now, not everything should be on Alliance, but there's still not that like any kind of like proper news hub. Inside Wake's pretty great. You know, the cable mag only focuses on Germany.
Cool.
But
a media outlet for all things wake could obviously exist without then consolidating every governing body within water sports.
And they don't need to post everything. Like, I think Alliance shouldn't post the things that they think are whack. Like, they need to have a personality and a brand. Like, I don't think the best thing to do is have a brand that's we're everything, you know?
Where does that stop? Is that only at Wake, or is that like, you know, because if the idea is like, you know, reaching the masses, like Inside Wake is a good example of that.
But just cable, obviously.
Like they definitely, that's their primary focus. But like, would it be more beneficial to just have like an umbrella over all towed water sports, water skiing, any? Because I feel like some people go that route. Like if your goal is like inclusion and eyeballs and just making it as approachable as possible, like limiting it to just wakeboarding and wake skating is classifying just wake stuff versus
USA
like
water ski.
sports.
USA water ski came close to it at one point when I was growing up. If you read in the back of every USA water ski magazine, there was like 4 pages of every event in every sport all year. All of it just listed out with dates, no matter what sport or what thing, which was nice. But I guess that's not. That's just, I mean.
I think, I don't think in the media side of things there should, but I think the event side of things, I think it'd be really cool if there was one calendar that was like a badass website
I miss so
everybody
much
went to.
It's being
and
worked
it's
on.
literally every single wakeboard and wakeskate event from grassroots to the biggest pro events.
Couldn't agree more.
It's being worked on not by me.
Okay,
so.
cool. That's good.
I think there's
Let's
room
go
for
then.
something
It
like
should.
that.
It shouldn't be
That-
by someone like me who works for some of these brands, but
Yeah.
it should be someone a little more independent. The problem with like a lot of it has to be something so specific to that because there's like some legal problems with like if one company's like if IWWF's promoting WWA or Langenfeld Open or whatever, there's probably some legal issues with them promoting something and then that event doing something wrong. So it does have to be like a separate thing. I think that something's being worked on, but yeah, I think like we could benefit from like an ESPN type thing, you know, and
I think the
like
the
not
way
a
it's-
magazine,
the way it's
but like
branded is going to be crucial to
That's-
whether or not
yeah.
it could ever happen because like many things like this have been tried, and if it's perceived or not, like if the riders don't buy in, no one's buying in. You
That's
know?
what
And
I'll
like
do.
to get the riders to buy in, they have to legitimately think it's cool. Otherwise, you're paying them, and then the ones that you're paying think will say it's cool, but everybody else knows they only think it's that because you're paying.
It's a really big undertaking because I don't know, but I think it would be a challenge to get every single person to kind of play nicely.
And all the governing
like-
bodies of all the different events, like
Well, that's what I
to
mean by
get their
people.
calendars and make sure that they're
Well, it'd be a lot
not
of work,
trying to
too.
hoard the info. But
Yeah, because
who would not want more people
That's what
to
I'm
know
saying.
about it? Like you're basically saying like you can't promote our stuff unless
There are
you were
people
trying
out
to
there.
gatekeep the entire like sport, which that exists to some
There are
degree in every
gatekeepers
sport.
in the industry.
But
I
like
mean,
if the goal was to really grow it, because I don't think like both sports could use growth. I think more eyeballs the better. Like as long as it doesn't make the sport look bad, I think like I don't know why inside wake is not something that I would particularly subscribe to, but for whatever reason I like the way that like I liked the branding, I like the messaging,
branded well, good content.
I signed up. I was like, it doesn't like I can sign up to be a part of this, so I did. I like
Interesting
it's
stuff.
not something that I put too much thought into, but for whatever reason, I'm sure other people have tried it. That it worked for that one. Same with your podcast. Like I feel like there's been a few of them, and some are cooler than others. But I like you definitely did the branding thing right, where like people I feel like want to come on here because you have well prepared interview questions. Like you're not asking someone to come in and tell me about yourself. Like I'm gonna find things out about you.
yeah.
I think
And eventually,
that's,
if you got 80% of events, then the few 20% that are like, yeah, I don't know, because if I give you it and then everyone goes to your thing, then they're learning about competitors and whatever. But I think it would be like you have to put it there because if not, you're not like once it got big enough, everyone would have to play anyways.
Well, and then it's competition to be all these contests are going to try and make their contest the best contest because
And they're
they
all
want
gonna
the
try to
contest that
make a
everybody wants to
form
go.
of
There-
this.
there's another
Yeah.
thing we haven't hit on, which is contests being the same time as other contests, and that's somewhat of a problem because like, is the calendar just some database with no personality that's like, okay, if you all four want to put a contest on the same day, we'll put them all up on the calendar the same day. And how does that work with like planning an event? And then it's like, is there
you kinda
hate
have
with
to
all
have,
these
like tiers of contests where it's like, yeah, this grassroots contest in Michigan can happen at the same time as LAO because it doesn't matter. Like, there's not gonna be a crossover, but like
If
LAO
yard
can't happen
sale,
as the
yeah.
same as like this other big
as
contest.
3-on-3 or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like
But the format of the thing that's being worked on is that event organizers can kind of pre-submit there's a private calendar so you can at least see what other events are going on, and then when you're ready to announce, you can publicize it. Problem is, say I'm like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, I'm doing an event. What if someone else either doesn't care or almost wants to compete and say, well, I'm gonna do an event here. And there's 2 Red Bull events going on in the same weekend in Europe, which is 2 at least Red Bull sponsored events in Europe in the next month. And it's like, it's kind of crazy that people could know and just not care or maybe intentionally do it. But then it's like, are they going to take away from my event because I was trying to be nice and share this information for the better of the industry, but then they're trying to screw me over because they have this information before anyone else. And they
Sounds like politics. We don't need those people here.
If I was an event organizer, though, I would want a place like that I like. The goal would be to get it almost competitive to try to submit your date. Like, so eventually we could have events scheduled for a year in advance so that one, it makes traveling schedules easier for all participants, riders, whoever,
100%.
But also like from the event organizer's perspective, like now we're competing for dates. Like I almost feel like you could get what you're saying where you might have someone go, oh, they're going to do that there. I think we could do that bigger. I don't see as an organizer, I want as many people coming to my event as possible. And I would see that as like, even if I think I could get more people, that's still less people.
I'm not
going to come to
choose
mine.
to compete against you right now.
I don't, unless there was like some sort of spite, like a personal thing.
This happened last year.
This happened this year. This is happening in a few months.
But I don't think do you guys think it's intentional or do you think it's just because
100%.
There's not a way for people to communicate
100%.
it better?
I don't know if I should. I'm not going to drop names.
This is shop talk. This isn't your actual interview. You could just say whatever.
Yeah,
this is my actual job. So.
Yeah, this is your job, but I could maybe comment on
it
more. But there was I'll be a little ambiguous. There was a double up contest that ended up being set on the same day as a very big.
It was double or nothing in yard sale, and it was absolute bullshit.
There it is.
That wasn't the only one. I mean, people know that there are 2 world championships happening the same week this year by 2 organizations.
But what could be more divisive?
That's 2 governing
for a
bodies
sport?
fighting is different.
That's what I'm saying, though. But then, so it does happen. And then, obviously, there's this one. Now, with nationals, I fucked up, to be honest, and should have known because I work for UNIT and I was involved. But Munich Mash moved the date a month back because of Olympics, and I didn't catch it. And I planned nationals all around the day Munich Mash was. And then no one wanted to change it, but I was like, I'm changing it because, it's my mistake, and I had to do a lot of work to change it, but we moved it a week later so it didn't overlap. But
so maybe to Josh's point, then
do that.
It could be a little beneficial for the view one body so that there is no overlap. But
I would prefer it because I am working hard to not overlap,
And it's obviously going to happen, but I think if it was at least easy for everybody to see what was going on in the next year or two,
that would just be
no one's going to want, for the most part, to do that. Just make it easy for everybody else.
Yeah.
But
it's just
somebody do
it's
it.
work. Somebody has to do
well.
it.
Somebody do it well, and we'll subscribe. But
I still think it'll work, and it's coming, and I've used the prototype, and I think
so. It's coming.
Something's being worked on.
So it's in the pipeline.
The problem with it's coming is there's so many things in the industry where people are doing it out of the love, and there's not enough money, and you never know if they're gonna how long they're gonna do it for the love. You know what I mean? Before they say it may not ever release because they
Hunter's
might
over
get
here yeah, I think I can relate to that.
like the person who's doing it isn't getting paid to do it. So are they going to finish it? I don't know. That's completely up to them. I believe they will.
Well, hopefully they're getting some help in one way or another, whether that's just manpower or some financial backing, because that would be it's a very crucial thing I think we need. But we got another one from Bobby Sutherland, Commish. And he's wondering, he says, live scoring for stop 1 at the PWT or PWL was an efficiency game changer. What expectations does this bring to the table for the head judge, TJ, and riders, Jake?
I thought it was the best thing ever. I thought you guys completely nailed it. I've never been more impressed. And a lot of the older set riders who have had their qualms about particular subjective judging, this was kind of my sales pitch to them to say, look, dude, I think we dialed it. It was amazing. And I mean, even just sitting there with the judges, it was across 3 different people, right? So that 3 different judges would submit a score, and they were within 0.01 of each other at every single one, it seemed like, and then it would average the score.
Definitely within 1 point of each other. We did, obviously the first go around using this, new numerical scoring system was a little bit of a adjustment, but as a judge, it makes the whole job 1,000 times easier, because before this, we were holding a clipboard, I'm judging an event this weekend that there is a scoring system. They're going to be averaging scores, but we still have to write things down. And that's like most contests is you're probably going to have something, that you're writing down. But the PWL, the way that Bob and Brad got it set up, it's literally it's not an app. It works through the browser on your phone, but he sends us a link for every heat. So we open the link as judges, and it already brings up each hit for each rider. So their name is there, and a little slider for us to slide a score from, 0 point whatever to 10. As for me personally, a 10 is not possible. I think that's how it should be. Like if you give a 10, you leave no room for progression.
Can't get any better.
It's not possible. So a 10 is not possible, but we are scoring on a scale of 1 to 10. And, sometimes it's tougher than others, but overall, just having this slider that I submit my score. If I want to give it a 10, I can. I'm not capable of giving the rider a 10 because 2 other judges are going to give their score. They're definitely not going to give it a 10. And it's going to average out. So all I can do is skew the score a little bit. Like, if it was going to be a 7.2, me giving it a wildly high score might make it a 7.6. It's at the end of the day, like you can only influence it so much. And I think that takes a lot of the decision making out of the judging process, which, is getting us closer to objectivity. Obviously, it's all subjective. Everyone's got their opinions. But we were still able to, roughly decide. And it's kind of like a little bit striking, I guess, to put numerical values to some of these tricks that people have been doing for a while because they're hard tricks, like things like a kickflip board slide. Like, what do you, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you guys give that from, with what you know of wake skating? Like just guess.
Stomped?
Yeah. Perfect kickflip board slide.
On like a down rail, or what do we just like outlet?
The ledges at Valdosta so yeah, what are you giving it a kickflip
I mean,
board
you
slide?
can still shove out of it. You can kickflip back lip. So there's like, you can go up.
Where you at?
7.5?
Yeah, I was going to go like 7.7,
So
7.8.
We're right on, like, I think it could be an 8 done perfect. And that was a little bit of a tough thing for some of the riders to digest.
The rail
when we were saying that,
so
because
much too.
they're just thinking like, I'm flipping my board over like, do you understand what could happen to me? And I get that argument, but my thought goes exactly where you go. Well, if I ignore everything that I've seen in wake skating, yeah, sure, we can call that a 9 if you just want to give out 9s for fun. We didn't give out any 9s, and I don't think that was a mistake. I think we were really close. We had some 8.8s, we were sniffing it, and I could imagine what the 9s would have been if somebody did a kickflip board slide shove out. Perfect. Now we're sniffing 9s. Even a kickflip board slide front shove might not, like, that could be an 8-9 if it's not perfect.
Right.
If it's perfect, we're probably talking like in the low 9s. Kickflip back lip shove, now we're probably mid 9s, and I still think there's kickflip board slide big spins that could be done. You can kickflip into a lock-in. Like, I mean, we've got to leave room for things that I know could happen and have happened that don't necessarily happen in contests, so that when we do give them away, like, it actually means something and we leave, room in the ceiling for us to get better.
I like that.
Not to mention that we had this conversation when I started head judging with some of the guys that are just super great judges, but it's like, we want that 9 to be special, and if you just give it too easy, it takes away so much. Not to mention, you need to, like, if you're giving someone a 7.8 for something, and you need to have room to give someone an 8.8, but you also need to have room to give someone a 9.8, in a way, because there could be someone who deserves a full point more than that kickflip board slide. And still, like, if you start getting to a point where you start scoring all the bangers as like a 9.2, 9.3, then someone does something that actually is like NBD stuff. How do you don't have a big enough gap to reward them for that NBD, because 9.2 to a 10 is not enough. You know what I'm saying? And then it starts becoming who messed up less, not who did the most bangers or who did the craziest stuff. Because now you mess up, you're 2 points below someone. You can never make up back those 2 points because this guy's got a bunch of 9.2s.
And the judges did a fantastic job of assessing that at our last event. It was the best judging I think that we've ever had, honestly.
Yeah, I was stoked on how it turned, like, doing it, but also, like, I did feel like it was the fairest shake to the riders. We had a couple people come up and ask, like, I wouldn't call it a protest, because, like, they weren't saying, like, you did me wrong, but there were some questions where, I had someone come up to me and say, like, hey, like, yesterday, this run that I did got me, a 7.2 or something. Today I did it, I got me a 6.8. Like, it's the same run, and my answer to that is, like, do you think that let's break it down to one trick. Do you think that one trick should have a set value, that no matter how it's done, where it's done, when it's done, that trick should only be worth that much? Because that's kind of what he was approaching with. He was like, what are you guys basing these scores on? But I came back with, like, the day before, it was in the LCQ heat to get into, like, his last run to get into the final, like, and it was the first time we saw one of the tricks that was in his line. Like, I scored what actually was probably like a, high 6s run. I gave it, like, closer to an 8. So a pretty big gap from the other two judges. So again, not enough that like it was really going to swing it wildly, but 0.4, 0.5 of a difference to him. And he was calculating in his head the day before. He's like, okay, if I do that run again, I will get this score again, And so he had a legitimate question, and I had to tell him, like, this is why we were there. Like, you did the same run, but I've seen the run now a dozen times. And also it wasn't as like the moment didn't matter as much. There wasn't as much pressure on you. So yeah, maybe I did weigh it a little heavy, but I think that you should give room for the moment, for the, to really make not every contest feel the same.
Also need to give a little bit of grace when there's new stuff like this, because first of all, they expect it to be 12 years into Street League. Like, they watch Street League, they're like, oh, well, that's pretty consistent. But it's like, yeah, but the first day you might have got everything right, but then realize you didn't have room for the crazy kickflip front board shove out, And so then you're like, oh, let's all drop our scores half a point. We're still going to be exactly consistent on how much you won by and stuff, but it's a brand new format, brand new judging, and you're kind of still dialing that in. And I think sometimes people, and also year to year, like, people expect it to be the same the next year, but as the sport progresses, you're really judging compared to the best thing you've ever seen in the sport, You're not judging compared to, like, as the sport progresses, the tricks lose value as well. And maybe at the same contest, as the contest, like, people do crazier stuff in the contest, you realize, oh, we need to kind of judge based on what we're seeing being done at this park, because now we realize there's more stuff possible and we didn't leave room,
At the end of the event, like when we were kind of talking with some of the riders, the point that you just made about, I called it the erosion of scores over the year. If the sport is healthy and and there's enough participants and we're pushing it all along the lines, year to year, I don't think that those scores should be saying the same, So when you come, like, yeah, we might have, another good point of contention was like shove board sides, the front shove backboard and back shove front board, whatever you want to call it, shove front board or big spin board slides. Those have been happening in wake skating since 2008, 2009. It's still a risky trick. You're letting the board go over a rail and potentially not going to get it back and still be over the rail. So you have the sack factor, but we were giving those roughly like those, we're going to be somewhere between a 5 and a 6, depending on how well it was done. And that was another one that people were like, that. And I'm like, yeah, maybe in 2009, we would have given that a 7 or an 8. But like, we've seen them for 10 years now. So like, are you asking us to ignore everything that we know to have happen and exist and be possible on a wake skate? Or do we want to keep moving forward here and actually leave room for what could be done,
Yeah. 15 years of those tricks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in wakeboarding right now, we're seeing double mobs on a regular basis. And a couple of years ago, that wasn't a thing, right? Like, it was back 9, double flip. But now it's like double mob is
it double mob still 9 club if it's done perfect? Like if there was a contest that was doing that?
Oh, I would. I mean,
but eventually, like, it could be
I would say
in the mid 8s, like when people are doing other stuff. It wouldn't be crazy to see it fall to where once there's more than a handful of people doing it, like, it does start to lose value. Like, it doesn't make the trick any less hard. The trick's still hard. Yeah. But as far as like from a judging perspective and scoring,
it's not setting you apart as much as it used to.
Exactly. Like, and I think that should always be something that riders take into account when every time I go to a contest, I'll get the questions of people asking, is this worth more or is this worth more? And like, any good judge is not going to be able to answer that question because there is not an answer for it. Generally speaking, like, if you like doing the trick and it feels good, usually someone that knows riding can tell it feels good and they like the way it looks.
If it's a run, when riders ask me, hey, what trick's going to score better on this right kicker, this one or this one, and it's a run, it's not like a kicker comp or whatever, I'm like, you don't get it if you think that there's an answer to that, because actually, like, I can't answer that without knowing every other trick in your run because I'm looking at it as a whole run. You know what I mean? Like, when it's just like, there's literally no answer. And the fact that you think that there's an answer to that question means we need to maybe have a discussion about what a run format is.
And is every 900 created equally?
That as well.
We just saw one that was created a lot better than others.
Usually you say that and say, but if it's done the same, just as good, whatever. And it's like, yeah, but it's literally
that won't happen
context.
In real life.
The context matters,
Yeah, definitely. That was good. Good stuff on judging. Before we move on, when's the next stop at the PWL? This is coming out on Tuesday.
Yeah, first weekend of
August 1st through the 3rd.
And where's it at?
We're going to Blackwater Junction in Union Hall, Virginia. So
all right.
That is a good time for like whether you're participating or not. Like, that Trey and Erica and the Senefs, their property up there is
Unbelievable.
unreal. Like, there are plenty of wakeboarders that can attest to that, have been up there and had a great time. Like, you know, the wake skating is almost, because like there's so many other fun things that will be happening, we'll be doing there. For the wake skating is almost a sideshow with as much fun things that are going on at Blackwater Junction. There's a bike ramp out of the woods that someone's probably going to jump off of. There's rope swings, tree houses. There's always some like random side game or something that happens that comes up that ends up being like more of the focus. So if there's any one of these stops that is like the best one to go to just to go and hang out, like Blackwater Junction is
this is super spectator friendly, giant camping area, just awesome times too, and right in the middle of the country. So
true,
pretty accessible.
And it's a sweet setup. I mean, as far as watching wake skating, like you said, spectator friendly. It looks very cool. So we got another Patreon question from Andrew Aspinwall, and he said he's heard rumors about a return of remote. Y'all got any insider info?
Not that I'm allowed to talk about.
So it sounds like you
I love
do.
this answer. This is the first I've heard of this.
That's a good. It's a good answer. Good question.
I don't know anything official, but like I've probably seen what Drew's seen. Like I saw like, you know, some couple of the old remote guys posted like what I assumed were teasers of graphics that definitely never existed. So either they like were posting some like old run stuff, or there was definitely like but this was kind of like a while ago. I don't know if it's. I literally know nothing about it, even though, you know, some of my best friends would have been involved with that. I don't know. So if they're doing it super secretively and well. So,
that's textbook Wakeskate. I feel like it sounds like. So we'll see. Who knows?
Shout out Drew Aspinwall of EWC.
Yeah, dude, legend.
I think we got an Instagram question asking about Red Bull Wake the City, and then also the qualifier for it, RGR, Rail Garden Rampage. You're pretty involved with Wake the City, right?
Yeah, pretty involved.
So I guess maybe I can. Do you want to touch on Wake the City, and then I'll touch on RGR and the qualifying process for it?
Sure. I don't know where to start. Basically, you should be familiar with Wake the City. It happened in Milan for 3 years. For whatever reason, Milan's not doing it. So the Red Bull guys in America, alongside Mossy, however that happened, decided that they were going to do it here. They wanted to do an event in the Midwest, which is a freaking great spot for an event. So in Milwaukee, we're doing Wake the City. It's at a place called Summerfest, which is a pretty awesome festival campground thing. The location is super solid. Setup's pretty great, I think. Hopefully you guys will see that really soon. And, there's like 40 wakeboarders coming team style, for those of you that don't know. And, it's the first major Red Bull event since 2013 Wake Open in Tampa that we've done on this side of the world. And I think it's pretty massive, and it's sick that they're getting back into it. And, I don't know what else there is to add right now.
You know the dates?
Sorry, yeah.
Do you know the dates?
Yeah, of course. August 31st is the event date. Before we announced it, the event date changed. So August 31st is the event date. There's just a few days of practice before that. There is a qualifier, which we'll get into. We're bringing over Maori, which I'm super stoked on. I called him up and was like, we need you here, because he lives in Milan and was a big part of that. So
Maori the wake skater?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's kind of in charge. Technically, like, I'm overseeing the event, the setup, the park, the cable, that type of stuff. But I want him in charge of just keeping that thing consistent, super good. I think he's one of the most talented judges in the world too. So he's kind of like the head judge, and I'm kind of relying on him to help keep it as authentic and the same, because I wasn't at Wake the City there. So try to keep it.
It looked like a really good time though, and I heard a lot of good things about
honestly
the first event.
It was tossed around the first year about me going, and I was like, no, I'm not going. Like a rider asked me about being their partner, and I was like, it's expensive, and I didn't like the idea of a doubles contest. I didn't feel like that was wakeboarding to me, but every rider I talked to that went last year was blown away by how fun it was. There's like some of their favorite contests, so I'm pretty excited to see it and everything.
Yeah, and that is, I would say that I'm not a huge fan of the doubles thing, but if you talk to the riders and the riders love it, then it's kind of like, you might just be wrong. Like, I could just be wrong, you know?
It definitely puts on a good show, and I think it's cool because although there's kicker type features, it's not like a Wake the Line where you end on the kicker. It's like a rail contest, and I think it's cool to give some. I think rails can be underwhelming to people, so it's a cool way to give like a proper rail contest and make it interesting. But of course, I think it's still, there's a lot more that go into it and strategy than a normal rail contest with the partner and all that stuff.
And everything doesn't need to be the same either. So it's like
I think Red Bull events are
like
perfect to do something super creative and different. And I think it's gonna be super sick.
Yeah.
Mauri Marassi also is for sure like in the conversation for the biggest ollie.
Yeah,
he's up there.
He can do it. Yeah,
I love him so much.
He's the best. He's definitely like top 5 wake skaters out there right now, I think.
Yeah,
sick.
He deserves some love
for sure. I hope I get to wake skate with him when he comes to. I didn't know he was coming to the States for that, so I hope that he makes his way to Florida.
His flight's not booked yet, but he's coming. Yeah,
that's sick. Yeah, RGR is like a Midwest 2-stop contest, so it starts at West Rock Wake Park, and then the following weekend it's at Action Wake Park. And it's head-to-head bracket style, 32 riders, and it's rider judged. So if anybody's familiar with the snowboard world, there's a snowboard contest at Trollhagen called Lord of the Ropes, and I believe they do rider judged. So you're on the dock with your opponent, and then the people that go next are the ones that are judging you. And if there's a tie, we have a tiebreaker on the dock that can, make the decision. But that's how it's going to run. It goes all the way down to the finals, and then the overall winner of guys and the overall winner of girls is qualified for the Red Bull Wake the City event, and obviously they each get to pick a partner. So
is that the way the format of the actual event works too, or just the qualifier?
Just the qualifier, yeah.
But the format of the event, well, first of all, there's kind of team captains that get invited and they get to pick a partner, so that's consistent with the qualifier, which I think is a cool aspect because it's hard to complain about invites because it's like, well, it's mostly chosen by riders.
You guys should live stream or record that the partner selection part, because that is just as interesting to me, even without like being interested in wakeboarding that much is like to see them pick team, like how
they don't like pick it out of a hat. They like, I invite you and you pick your favorite wake skater to be your partner.
That's why I think it's more like it's like a draft. You're literally like drafting a team.
That
like,
would be sick.
The idea, like they do it in other sports, like there's golf doubles and stuff where they do that. Like the press conference where they pick teams is pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like someone invited Joe and Joe is already had things planned and can't make it, and so then it's like, they have to call him, ask him. It's kind of a process. It would be great if you had a whole list of riders that were all like going, I guess, or
like confirmed, and then you just picked it.
Or confirmed that avail.
I think if two people like teamed up too often, like if you could predict it, like it almost, like the guys that you least expect, or the people that you least expect being together, I think are the ones that maybe have an edge, because you're already paying attention to see these two people with wildly different styles have to ride together and kind of see what they're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing about RGR is there is money too. So first place is 1,000, then they pay down to 6th, which I think is 100. So
it's really cool they're even doing a qualifier for an event like this. Like usually the Red Bull, like that stuff of that caliber is like invite only. So I think the qualifier is like the thing that's going to make this.
That's huge ups to Red Bull because I think they did it in Milan, right?
They did it in Milan. So I don't know who. It could be Mossy's idea. I don't know. It could be Maui's idea, but it seems sick in Milan and they want to keep it. So.
Well, and they do it in snowboarding too. I think maybe not. Maybe they just did like you got invited to Red Bull Heavy Metal. Yeah, I think that's what it was, just to spectate. But like that's still cool too, to involve the local scene and community in it, in a sense where it isn't just a bunch of Red Bull helmets in one area and then they all leave. It's like, okay, there's some like local grommets and homies that are still rippers. Like,
is there any other contest format that's ever done the like team doubles event like that?
Yeah, I'm sure on cable back in the day, but not like a 2.0 contest that I can think of, like where you set up a park for this. But I mean, a lot of I feel like I've seen contests like a long time ago just be like throwing it out there, or like a college contest had that type of stuff. But it's a little different. You're supposed to like plan your run, pick it, and make sense. Like it's not like you just ride doubles, but it's like they want you interacting with each other and all of that type of stuff too, which is it's pretty cool. It forces you to get creative, and it's almost more about creativity than tech and stuff. And
there was a Wakeskate contest in France once called the well, not once, they've had it a lot of times, but it's called the Wakeskate Cup. They actually started bringing it back. It's probably going to end up being one of the bigger events that happens in wake skating recurring, because they decided to do it biannually. That's Leo Labadens that's putting that one on, and they've done that event goes back to like 2007, because I took a trip there like around that time when I graduated high school as like my summer trip or whatever, and I went to a Wakeskate Cup, and they had a doubles event there that I was like, how is doubles going to work? To this day, probably the coolest contest I've ever done. It was fully for fun, like the goofiest
Who'd you
stuff
ride
ever.
with?
My buddy at the time, Kevin Calvez. But like, so like the top 3 things that we saw, somebody, like probably like the thing that got the most hype, somebody like just laid down on their board, and the other person stood up, like he rode a whole lap riding his butt. Like his partner was laying on the Wakeskate as like on his stomach.
Dude, that's some
the other
Showski
rider
shit
stood
right
on top
there.
of him, and like they had to do that like on the water. They had to get into that position while making their lap, and then like made a lap riding him. Like that was really hype. Saw somebody do like coffin, like put their feet in the handle and just laid on their Wakeskate like that, and the other person like did tricks back and forth over them. Like that was probably like the actual coolest thing that happened, but it was super fun to watch.
Yeah, it's fun.
Coffin thing sounds dope.
It's cool because you got a teammate too. You don't get that in board sports.
Dude,
hardly
me and
ever.
TJ actually have a coffin clip. I did a kickflip over you
on
on
the
a surfboard. He was on a surfboard, coffin, laying down, and I did an inside out kickflip over him.
We were riding triples.
TJ, were you handleless, like wake surf length, or were you?
No.
We were behind a jet
full
ski.
length on
yeah,
a jet ski, and I was holding a handle.
Still sick.
We've
But
done some
honestly, you should recreate it wake surfing, just laying down and then kickflip over. Like, don't even have Jake in the clip, and then he edges in and does a kickflip.
Yeah, we could go viral doing that.
Yeah, you go viral. There
Okay.
you go. All right, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with a podcast called Pardon My Take, but it's the #1 sports podcast in the world, I'm pretty sure. And these guys, I was going to say these guys went wakeboarding. They didn't go wakeboarding. These guys tried to go wakeboarding.
Okay.
And I'm curious on your guys' thoughts. We've all taught wakeboarders what you think about the technique here and maybe what they could, do to improve to try and get up here.
Well, first of all, I mean, the waves weren't big enough to go. You want to wait to make sure you got at least a double-sized wake over you.
So I'll throw the clips in here, obviously, but
These are the classic attempts, though, for sure.
These
Yeah,
are
honestly, this
obviously
is super classic.
Standing up too early.
I was expecting something
that one
like
was pretty
crazy.
close.
activating your legs
He's
too
trying to muscle.
early.
He's trying to muscle it. He's trying to beat the lake up.
Honestly, it makes me so bummed to see stuff like this because I'm like, there's clearly not enough information out there, or like a single good enough video.
The thing is,
or
they
something.
had a coach on here.
They're all
This was
trying
like a
to
school.
stand up in the water still.
Yeah.
Like
Who's
every
in-
person that I'm seeing is like your butt should be.
Where's the
floor
person
almost
swimming
as
in
you
the
get
water
up.
with them?
That's where's Sean Murray helping this guy get up.
You should
That's
be
what
in
I'm
the
saying.
water with the guy.
Pardon my take. You guys got done wrong. Like you need to get some real. Not. I mean, clearly it didn't work out. So
Well-
got to try different coaching styles. Maybe there's some better coaches.
I want
out
to
there.
ask
These
you who the
guys should give it
coach is,
another
but
shot.
maybe tell me off
Look
air.
at this shot.
I don't know who
Look
the
at this-
coach is. I
what
don't
lake
know.
What lake are they on? This
It's Lake
shot
Tahoe.
is
They're in Lake
unreal.
Tahoe, yeah. But yeah, my point is they were stoked to do it, and Hank, the producer of the show, was like really wanted to do it, but he never got up. And I feel like with proper like professional coaching, like one of these attempts was so close.
Oh, I could get these guys up
Yeah,
first try. Everyone
get these
I
guys
was
up.
gonna say that no one better than Jake probably to get
I
these
could
guys
get these
up.
guys up for sure.
Like, are you going to shorten the rope a little bit? What are some things you're going to do to get these guys up?
So here's the classic problem forever is you just have to hug your knees. And if your knees are up to your chest and you don't activate your legs until you're on top of the water, you get up every time because the knees will physically stop you from folding in half and you just do nothing.
Yeah.
And then I just make them count to 5 and then stand up. They'll make it.
There's a
You at least get up and do the under the chin ones and then they make it the next time.
Yeah.
There's a small level of understanding if they are overthinking or not, and if they understand. Like the physics of it is actually pretty complicated, I would say. So like if getting them to stop thinking about that stuff.
The hardest
maybe is the
people to
only other
coach
part.
are
Athletic people that are into sports. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
They
They
think
They're
they
gonna-
have preconceived notions of what they think that they should be doing.
Right.
Exactly.
Kids and women are the easiest because like it's a blank can't like you can actually give them tips and they will usually take them and then they get up. Whereas like dudes will look you dead in the eye and say, "Yep, I hear you," and then they'll do whatever they thought they were supposed to do anyway.
Run it back again and again.
And every attempt looks like
Also,
this,
if
basically
we've
the
hit
same.
attempt 3 and I didn't succeed already, I am not getting out of that water until you're getting up and I'm swimming to you until you're standing up for, quite a bit.
Yeah, I think the person in the water could definitely help.
Because sometimes you need to like hold their body in the position and hold the board, and when things start moving, they freak out and they change their body position. And you're like, no, like if you feel like you're putting pressure on the back of my hand, you're moving too much. Like relax or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And like I think that they need to relax and feel that awareness and feel like.
I like actually holding the board.
Yo,
and
one
the
hand,
the angle that it needs
100%
to
on
be,
the
just so
board.
that when they get tension and they feel it, when you guarantee their board's at the right angle and not a wall, they will feel the lift. And
I was gonna say the wall
like
is
having
the
that
thing.
little just getting them to feel it act like a wing and not a wall.
You
is
say
like
even grabbing like a
huge
wake
factor.
skate or an empty wakeboard in the boat or something and holding it underwater with them and letting it go and being like, see how it naturally rises up? That's the angle you want. And and when you hold it as a wall, you're just hitting a wall.
plowing,
But
yeah.
once there's tension and you kind of pull down or push up a little bit, they feel the wall. But I agree with Jake. All of this is like later because you don't want to complicate it at first. What Jake said is perfect.
Would you guys consider?
And he's better than me at it.
Would
for
you guys
sure.
consider a different board? Like, say there was a knee board or a wake surfer. Like, if you're not making any progress on a wakeboard, no matter what you tell them,
I'd switch them over to a wake surfer.
These guys wanted to go wakeboarding. That was the thing.
that's
Like,
what
they
that's
were
why,
set out.
But
I
I would
brought
also
wakeboards.
not be afraid to tell them like, hey, like you guys we're skipping steps here. Like I think we need to try this closer to the boat, going slower. Feel that first, and then we'll do that further out.
And I've also what was the one that we were doing out in New York? Getting them with like a 5-foot line and dragging them. And then
100%, yeah.
like right there, and then you can pull it and like watch how they react, and then in a few attempts you can teach them how to like calm down. You're like,
And not teeter
because you're
and
gonna
fall
like,
over.
almost every time what they inadvertently do is handle up, leg straight, like every time. So you just give them like a little like
Because
this.
it's gonna
they just
pull
like,
me up. If I pull the rope in, it's gonna.
If
pull
you're
me
really
up.
dedicated, two handles strapped to each other. You're in the boat holding one handle. They're on the side holding the other handle. You're about just long enough, and then you can do what Jake said, like idle.
That's
pull
what they
on
do
them.
at the like adaptive events and stuff. Which like when you see like getting
Oh, like drag
the
next
fact
to
that
'em?
the fact that nobody got in the water
I'm
with
saying
them
like
at
what
all.
you're saying.
that's-
They
if
didn't
you
get
put
full
two
effort.
wakeboard
Like,
handles together, then you have just such a good leverage and stuff as well. It's same exact thing you're saying. I'm just giving you a creative way to set up the rig. If you don't have the right length of handle or whatever, two handles work. Or
I think if we took
a
these
wake
guys
surfer.
out,
Well, so
if we took them out, they're riding like we're having a day.
I did message them, and obviously they'll probably won't get back to me. But if it makes its way to them, come down to Orlando. We got
We'll
boats.
get you
and we
up
got
so
we
easy.
can get,
Bro, I'll
we
go
can get
to
these
you,
guys up,
bro.
no problem.
If they're at Tahoe,
They're in
I got
Chicago.
friends in Tahoe. We go there.
I was like, I go to Tahoe. Nothing makes me more upset or angry than like I don't have this situation on boat very much, but sitting at a cable park watching the operator say the wrong thing, say nothing, don't give a crap. Like it makes me so mad. Like there's nothing in wakeboarding that's a bigger pet peeve.
Well, it sucks because we just got, I don't know, there's 6 guys in this boat, and we just got 6 failures of wakeboarding.
Wait, there
should
was
never
6
happen.
guys that didn't get up.
That should you should never go 0 for 6. If you went 0 for 6, you did not have the right coach on the boat.
I'm not
five or
a
six.
boat rider. I know wakeboarding, but I'm not as good of a coach as like someone like Jake. But it's like I literally pulled up on the dock once and grabbed a bunch of kids and like got all 6 of them out. Like I feel like anyone can do it if you
For
just
sure.
have decent understanding.
And these guys aren't, I mean, they're not
So
in
it's really
textbook shape, but
upsetting.
these guys are strong enough to be able to do it.
But that's
You know
like
what I
what he
mean?
was
They're
saying. Though,
in good enough
that
shape.
makes that's a disadvantage because the fact that they believe that they already should be able to do it
textbook, yeah.
makes it tough because
Muscle
like
through it.
you're having to break these like preconceived notions they have about things, which is harder to do than just rock up and teach.
So I'm
Yeah,
pretty
scratch.
sure in Tahoe there's like a few little like I googled it. I was in California last week, and there's a few little like learn to wakeboard things when you Google like adventurous, fun, whatever things to do in Sacramento and stuff. And I wonder if this is one of those schools, and that would make me so mad if they like partnered up with one of them, and then
Oh, these poor
I
kids
hope
are just gonna.
not.
Hey, we should just get someone. We should just get someone out there to get that school, help them get their coaching.
Yeah,
up to
yeah.
That's the
speed, not-
thing, like,
not
it's-
take them down.
Not
because, like, yeah.
not shit on them, but like
I
we'll
don't-
help you.
Yeah,
Teach.
what you said is exactly
should never
right.
go 0 for 6. You
It shouldn't
never
go over 6, and like I'm not gonna be the guy to preach all here, but like these are big moments in any niche sport.
Numbers
These
don't-
guys got up, dude, smiling, and they want to go do it again,
That's big for
and
them.
one of them gets pretty hooked. That's a big deal.
All of a
you know?
sudden, that becomes something they're talking about on Barstool, and then they're
yeah.
just da da da. Yeah, like these are though they seem innocuous, they are pivotal the way you're talking
They have
about.
eyeballs.
Yeah.
How many views did this video get?
This thing's probably got a couple hundred
It's
thousand.
got 1.7 likes.
128,000 came out.
And
7
it's
days
all
ago.
6
Huge.
fails.
It's huge.
Yeah. So
How did that many people even click to watch this? They're probably disappointed.
because these guys have
the
such a
page-
strong following that they will
page-
watch
the
it.
viewers might not even come back for a second look because of how bad the time they had with this.
Well, all those 120,000 now are scared of it.
Exactly. Or they're
That's
just
my
like,
point.
this was lame. I'd never want
They're
to
like,
go get
man,
drug in the
that's
water.
an
behind a
impossible
boat."
sport. I'm not gonna try it.
turn to that?
No wonder
These guys just got
Wakesurfing's killing
waterboarded
it
behind a
right
boat.
Yeah. So that'll be my life goal here in the next year to get these guys out on the water and get them up. So we'll keep grinding. As far
If
as
anyone knows them personally, reach out to them. I will literally pay for my flight to go help them.
We got an insider at Barstool.
Who?
Oh, it's Did you say it's Barstool?
it's Pardon My Take, which is a Barstool podcast.
Doesn't
I don't-
AMS know someone in
Not
there?
that many people.
AMS has got a guy in the
I
office.
think he does. Someone
We
does.
might have to
over
work
there.
on that.
Yeah, we'll make those
reach out.
connections. So we got one last video.
I
clip
don't
we're
even
gonna
care
go
about
over
the
here.
video because if
but-
they have that good of experience, they're gonna put it all over their social media, and then they're gonna want to make a video.
I
of them actually
told
recording.
them it'd be worth a content trip for them to come down and like they could partner up with
Yeah, but
like Parks or Murray or something, and it would be a great video content.
I'm
watch for them.
saying I will literally fly to them.
What if they
cameras
don't want
off.
you to do it, Johnny D? What if they want Parks Bonifay?
Well, then hopefully,
connect 'em.
yeah, we'll connect them. We'll make it happen. I'm
Yeah.
just saying they don't have to spend anything. They don't have to do any work. They don't have to film anything.
No, I think it'd be a good idea too because Chicago, they're in Chicago. They live, like that's
Even
where their
better.
podcast is. So I think
Let's try another teaching style, guys.
let's get them out Wake the City too. Yeah. All right. So we got Pedro came out with a new edit. Which have either of you guys seen this?
Pedro's
I
one.
have
He's one of the guys.
but
I'm
I
a
saw
big
a lot of
fan
people giving it good reviews.
I wasn't sure how much
I
cable
watched
you
this
guys watch
already,
or
yeah.
wakeboarding you guys watch, but we're not going to go through the whole thing because it's 8 minutes, and we're not going to go over the ender. I'm not even going to talk about it because you need to watch the entire video and then watch the ender. But there are 2 clips that I want to go over.
Don't gatekeep this shit for me, dog.
Well, I'll play it for
Pedro's
you
the best
here,
dude
but I
out
don't want to put it on screen for the people.
After the
yeah,
podcast,
yeah,
Look at this kid's
after the
face.
podcast,
Look
let's
what this
sit
kid
and
just
watch the
saw.
whole thing.
What did he just see?
I think this is a precursor to it. So this one isn't anything crazy, but
Are you meant to be scrubbed this far in, or are we starting?
yeah. I'm trying to figure out what this is the hit. Okay.
Wow.
Front lobe, if that's what you're asking.
Yes,
With the handle in his backhand is wild.
but to me, this is like it's a tame dog because it's a straight,
Yep.
which is a snowboard
He's
trick,
hitting
whatever.
the brakes off the tip.
He's going straight over the front.
Yeah.
Boom, the blind.
Wow.
Pretty crazy, huh?
I really
he doesn't.
like that.
He doesn't even really spin at all at the beginning either.
No, he doesn't. That was just a crazy hit, and then this whole video is full of a bunch of this stuff. I mean, it's textbook Pedro, but and then
I like
That one. Wait. Pause it.
That was
pause
like
it,
the
pause it,
same
pause it.
trick.
That
This
one
guy?
is way harder than anyone thinks that is right there. He's coming, regardless
here?
of the tension, coming out of the front board to do that trick with, I guess with the tension of the whoop
Yeah.
and everything is way also underrated, I think.
I thought this deserved a little bit of love here. This little nose press to like shifty.
Look at their little.
Okay, when I
again.
saw this, I was like,
water fountain keeping the rail.
true.
Yeah.
That's truly creative. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw it from a
Pedro
rider
is
that was
truly
less
creative,
pop.
dude.
I mean, maybe in Thailand. I don't know.
And this
He's
hit.
the see where I'm not docking points for that hand touch.
No,
Those
no,
are
that's-
hand
that's
plants,
the-
dog. Hand plant is all day.
You see him just
Yeah.
use this obstacle like a re-entry hit.
This is the one I was.
Hit the
This is the one I
re-entry. Run this
wanted to
one
hit.
back.
Right
Boom.
here. Boom.
Yeah, that's cool.
I gotta say,
That's
Big fan.
insane, dude.
That's
Big
a
fan.
that's a re-entry 360. He
Just
did
looks
right
so
there.
sick.
Yeah.
Looks so fun.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Ooh, did not put the nose in at all. You see, he just goes 50-50 and then like toes it down.
Mm-hmm. He's.
It's interesting.
This is the ender right here. I'm not gonna put it on screen,
Double
but
crow. Let's go.
Wow.
gonna have to bleep that out because people are gonna have to watch that for themselves. That's a full edit that you need to watch from beginning to end. It's insane. But yeah, just a couple points we want to talk about on that.
Wow. Good shit, Pedro. You are a savage.
He's one of
on that
those like tranny finder guys too. That there will be no tranny in something, and he'll just like. Hit
I
the
was
side
saying
of it
that
right
yesterday.
away. So smooth.
On the phone with my friend, he can find tranny where it doesn't exist.
Does he ride like the
Doesn't
flexiest
exist.
board or something to do that, or is it he just?
it's got quite a bit of flex, but I don't think that's.
It's nothing
what-
crazy.
It's
Yeah.
like how it's control of.
I
the
hear
edge
that's easier to do in
land into
Thailand.
stuff.
Could be.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, dude, Pedro is also, I feel like the pros know, but Pedro is better than everyone on Instagram thinks. Sometimes I'm like, Pedro, like I've literally rode with the kid and he's doing like Mob 7s and stuff and just not filming it to post it. And it's just like insane how good he is on a wakeboard. But he is the most like, I mean, that's why everyone respects the shit out of him, because he only wants to post the shit that like looks good, that like it's kind of on brand, you know what I mean? Like he's not just gonna go
curation.
He's not just gonna go tech just to go tech, you know? It's like truly an art to him. And I mean, the video shows it. Like he's got such a unique style. Riders used to tell him, like I literally sat and watched riders tell him at Munich Match, like, yeah, I don't know, you should probably stop tapping the end of the rails. And he's like, yeah, that's fine, you think that, but I'm gonna just keep doing it. And then now it's like everyone wants to tap like Pedro, you know what I mean? And it's just like he always had like the right vision, did things the way he saw it, and it's not like necessarily just trying to impress people with it, but like put out like something that is actually like an art that represents him, you know?
Yeah, I think he's in the short list of most creative wakeboarders right now. I posted this past Saturday who I think the most creative wakeboarder is, or Sunday, and I think he's up there. So, other than that, I got a couple other things before we wrap this up. One is you were at a meeting, TJ, today about some IWF contest, right? IWWF.
Yeah, the Pan Am Championship.
Can you kind of run through, I guess, what you learned, what that was, what it is?
I mean, I'm participating in it because I've never ridden in or worked with a IWWF contest before. So I like what I see from what they're doing internationally. I always thought it was cool. I think like each country having their own representation is cool, but can't help but noticing that like US riders like will always go to those things, but we don't really have like, you know, it doesn't really exist here as far as like those type of events happening here. And I think it's mostly because WWA is so much bigger here. So I just went to kind of like learn more about it. And it was cool. Like, it's pretty cool to me because it's a more structured like contest than I've ever been a part of, as far as like they have an entire handbook that's, you know, 30 or so pages of like, a lot of it is stuff that like you probably will never need or use, but most of it is just so well thought out of things that like in the event of this is the protocol, you know, which like probably like, you know, 5-10 years ago, I would have rolled my eyes at that stuff of like, oh, this is so lame. We don't need any of this. But, you know, as an adult, I'm looking at that thinking like, I don't want to be scrambling to figure out what we do in this situation. I'd rather have the protocol, you know, in place. So, yeah, it was cool. It was a pretty informal, like, you know, judges and staff meeting, but I will have to take like an actual course, you know, which seems silly, but the course thing is more about just making sure that you know what those protocol are. They're not necessarily questioning whether or not me or any of the other judges know what they're talking about. I think that's been established. It's more of just making sure that we know who to defer to if we have a question about something, or if there's, you know, some sort of unforeseen thing. Like they've collected a pretty good, you know, amount of circumstances that could come up that they've got protocol for. And it just, I feel like to me, it makes it a little less stressful rocking up to an event and not knowing
1,000%,
who's going to do this and who's going to do that. So as much as like in my past, I would have thought some of that stuff, you know, having to go to a meeting like that, you know, well before, I would have been, you know, kind of like, oh, do I really have to do that? But it was cool. And I was legitimately interested in learning kind of how they do it. And there's people from all over the world there, you know, like staff and everything, which is cool. You know, we've all got different perspectives, different experience. So, I'm definitely enjoying kind of learning how that stuff goes, because, yeah, my main interest with it was I see that Maori and Andy Kolb both judge a lot of these IWWF stuff overseas, and a lot of times Maori is judging contests that he is a favorite to be on the podium in, and I think a lot of times he's doing that because the alternative would be somebody less qualified would be making the decisions, and maybe the wrong decision would be made. So I'm sure clearly he's great at it. He's one of probably the best in the world at doing that. But I also think that there are times when he should still be participating and he's not, because he knows that the decision making won't be as legitimate without someone like him behind there.
Definitely.
You know? So I just kind of wanted to learn that stuff so that I could, you know, I've got no business riding in those things, but I definitely know what I'm looking at. And I feel like if more people got involved, like it gives a path for riders, you know, things they can do that goes beyond being a pro rider, that you can still contribute and
still be super involved in it.
You know, you're not going to make a living doing it, but like you can get to go to events that you otherwise would have to spend money to be at, and maybe either offset the cost of being there, or, you know, get paid to be there, and hopefully be doing something you love and sharing it with other people. So
Yeah, 1000%. That's cool. Yeah, it's cool to hear a little bit of perspective on that. Last thing before we wrap it up, I saw that there's a new wake park in Virginia coming. So I could not find the article for the life of me, but I remember seeing it. You have it. I'll put it in here because there are some pictures. I don't have it on TV here, but I'll put it on the screen. Do you know anything about this, Johnny? Does anybody know anything about this?
Of course I know about it.
Come on, spill the beans. Tell us what
How many unit features they buying? What's the...
I'm not allowed to say
what percentage of sales are you getting for that
anything
one?
that's not in that article, which I don't even remember what's in the article.
Okay, well, there is a wake park, full size, coming
How many
to...
How many towers is it?
Yeah, you got to know that. 5, 6?
How much did the angel investors put into this? And what are their names?
Let me have their emails too.
It's still pretty early that when you sent me the article, I was blown away that the article came out.
So somebody let it slip then.
No, it was an interview.
No. It's not that far away. It's soon. It's really soon.
I gotta find this.
I'm just saying it was supposed to come out. It was supposed to happen this year. There's always delays.
Was it Inside Wake that did it?
No, it's some very underground...
I don't know how he found it. I was like... That's why
I got connected. Oh, got it.
Because I didn't know it. I didn't know it was out yet. Like anything was. It was like a local city thing. I mean, what is there to say? There's a park coming to Virginia, a full size. The reason I can't say that much is because like things just change with all of this at this stage so much that it's like, you know, things get changed. Like the features aren't paid for yet, so it's like, you know, I could tell you I know the layout of the features, but it's not ordered yet. Like it could change. I don't want to like.
You know that, huh?
He does because he sold them. Hasn't hit the bank. Hasn't hit the bank account yet, though.
It didn't sell it yet. You know.
How many more rewinches are you gonna get when that sale goes through?
I mean, you gotta reinvest in, you know.
No, this guy's just taking money out of the cable industry and funneling it into winching.
I heard a rumor. I heard a rumor that I was taking money out of the industry.
I'm here for it, John. I'm on your side.
So yeah, here it is.
Talk about that.
I'll put this article in here, but yeah, this is a website called slobber.xyz, which is run by a guy named Ben Johnson, and it's a pretty cool website. The goal is to connect.
Look at how shocked John looks that they have
skate,
this.
Surf,
I'm just like,
wake.
you asked me to tell you. You can see the blueprint in the article. You can see what the map looks like. You know,
also, this literally looks
towers.
like a WikiLeaks style document.
Yeah, it does. So it's a 5-tower, obviously here, and it looks like it's on a pretty good sized lake.
Did someone shoot that off of like glasses, like Google glasses,
right.
there in someone's office?
I did read through this, and now I'm remembering a little bit. But this guy here on the right, he's a huge fan of wakeboarding. Lived in Florida for a really long time and is now bringing a cable park and then a bunch of other stuff.
He looks happy about it.
Are you allowed to tell us that? Did they dug the lake from scratch?
Yeah. It's a development. A lot of new stuff we've been working on.
Development.
No, but not just. I don't mean that like with the wake park. A lot of new things like the one in Utah, like housing around, things like that.
So this is like a Nona style.
It doesn't.
With a suburban.
Okay, this graphic. That blueprint, maybe it's not all accurate. You know, that's not we did not make that.
It appears there's going to be an island in the middle based on one of those photos,
and
that's what I thought, but I didn't
auditorium.
Which
amphitheater,
one?
Yeah.
Amphitheater, yeah.
That's an island being formed right there.
Yeah, but is that the cable?
I think
that's a different part of the
that's
lake?
a different.
I think it's got a water ski lake or wakeboard park.
Boat lake, a turnaround.
I think it might.
How do they know that you need an island for the turnaround, but not
for the cable?
I think what
sounds like the guys are talking to about the cable.
I think what you're looking at is the top
pool.
I think what you're looking at is
Johnny D's
in
a
that
boat guy.
picture.
Spends more time on the boat.
He's got 2 boats. You know that.
Oh my goodness.
Either way,
this guy keeps his ear to the streets. You're not going to really be able to keep anything from him. He's going to force you to spill beans when he comes.
It's like the Nardwar of our freaking industry.
I know he spilled it. I had
He's got foot soldiers on the street.
Dude, yeah, I got.
Let's just say a cable's coming. This
is
not
huge.
Designed,
this is good information.
It's not designed to be the most dope pro cable, but the features planned are good.
Whoa. You don't gotta say all that.
No, I'm just saying it's designed the way it should be designed. It's designed to get people into wakeboarding, to grow the sport.
Beginner cables are Wakeskate cables.
You know.
Usually flat bars.
It's not a beginner cable.
Come on.
Yeah.
As of now. I will say that like Pat Panakos did almost everything for this thing.
He looks pretty hyped.
Which I work with Pat, but
he looks like he's about to run for city council.
Yeah, he does.
Pat's
governor.
I would vote for him if this is his platform. I'm voting. He's got my vote, so this guy should run.
Yeah, he should.
Especially with this wild looking WikiLeaks website, dude.
Yeah, this is where the information.
This
gets
was
shared.
made in freaking
This is
MS
why
Paint.
you can see why I was confused when he sends me an article about a cable that I had also told him there was a cable coming in Virginia. And he sends me, that's maybe how he found it. He sends me this article, and I was just like, there's no way this is how they released that they're doing a cable. You know what I mean? Like, I see nothing publicly about it. I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Seems
and
like
then I see this.
miscommunication along some lines where like this was the first thing that came out and they were like, oh, we weren't supposed to say that yet.
It still seems pretty.
Bro, it looks like a
premature
Sega
to
Genesis
me.
loading page.
Yeah.
I'm pretty hyped on it though, Jake. Like I'm pretty stoked on it.
Yeah, it looks.
What is that?
As you can
16-bit?
see, it's in Richmond, Virginia. I mean, there's not much to know. It's a cable, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's. I just wanted to bring it up because
It's in Richmond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's just an exciting thing. I thought.
He's running this off of a Nintendo 64.
It'll probably. I don't know any dates, but I would imagine it's going to open up next year. That would be my guess.
Tight, dude.
At the earliest.
It doesn't say in there.
No. Yeah, it does. It says right here. Just confirm. What does it say?
Okay, well, like obviously the date is the most unlikely, but my guess is that it's gonna open early next year. That's
Okay,
my
and it
guess.
says
So
they
this
are
is
having
super
a.
premium.
They're going to have an endless surf too.
That's what I was trying to say. Is okay if it says.
It says right here. So you're using an endless surf.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. So when you go up to the photo,
I just made this on my own just to release it to get Johnny D to say all the info.
if you go up to the
I
photo,
believe it.
you can see the surf pool, which is the what they're
Is it
digging
this
up
thing
there.
right here?
Yeah,
I
which
couldn't see that before, but I do now.
I don't think is a good drawing, unless Endless Surf changed the way their surf pools are, which I don't
That
like
looks like
on the
two
surf
of them
pools.
side by
it
side to me,
does.
based on the shape. Like that's because that's
Yeah.
the shapes like usually like that shell.
Right, exactly. So
Looks like two side by side.
I think what you're seeing with the dirt is more the middle of that, but
Yeah. Well, whatever. We'll see. We'll see as things progress. Maybe we'll get another article on this WikiLeaks style page and give another update. But besides that, that's all I got, boys. Appreciate you guys coming on. Unless somebody got some stuff you want to talk about, touch on.
Yeah. So, in the last year and a half, what would you say the best part filmed in wakeboarding is?
Year and a half.
yeah, you're putting
That's a weird. That's a weird time.
Are we talking
time frame.
so 2023 and now, and this year? I mean, the best part in wakeboarding. Well, I can name some parts that are good, and then you can help me remember the other parts, and then we can decide. Because I'm worried I'd be missing something based on the timeline.
We can kind of go back and forth here with the parts.
Status is up there for me.
Gavin Stuckey status is up there.
Hey, like depends what you define the criteria of best. Pedro's part is one that made me want to wakeboard more than anything, and one of my favorite parts when you're including the production, the filming, and all that type of stuff.
Jake Flynn, Violet had some absolutely mental clips. Was that the last year and a half?
Were there any full lengths that came out?
I didn't see Violet. Can we get a clip of Violet up?
Yeah, I'll show
Was
you.
it in the last year and a half?
What do you have in mind though? What's the one that you're?
You have one.
I guarantee I'm missing something, but I
Gavin's.
for sure saw it. Okay.
That's status, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Graham hasn't put anything out.
The
in
one where he backlips,
in
the
year
thing
and a
that's
half,
like
I
a
think.
mile high.
Yeah, which
That's status.
yeah,
That's the best one.
the opening. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, I don't know, Violet. Yeah, 1 year.
But I
ago.
haven't seen this, so
Fun,
I don't really
fun
know.
fact about Status: we went to film that back lip. He did it, laced it, lost
This
it
spot. Looks
When did Violet come out?
insane.
in a year ago.
Premiered June 21st,
Yeah, a year ago.
2023. So it just
You just went over the fall. Oh my god.
yeah, this is
That fall was gnarly. I was operating the winch.
Dude, there's
on that
no
one.
water when he gets up. There's nothing.
Dude,
left.
I was operating the winch and freaking out after seeing, because you see the end of the post and everything after seeing Terry Bailey's thing. It was just me and him there too.
Yeah, I'll put Violet over the screen here because this is
We've been sending a lot of 2-man missions.
When this is done, since everyone here has been a part of a winch crew, I want to hear your gnarliest winching story, not the best trick or anything you ever saw, but I just want to hear
That's
the
good.
craziest thing that has gone down in a crew while you were winching and how it turned out.
100%.
I wrote that down just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, Violet though is
You're not going to see a lot of full winch parts like this these days anymore. Just how much
It's
work.
a-
This is
so
a
much effort, dude.
multi-year
And
process
Spot
to
looks
get
so
this many clips.
fun.
Jake's out here just grinding, dude. Just grinding.
Where's he based out of? Is he one of the North
Elevated.
Carolina? Yeah.
Work, yeah. Most of the time he spends there.
A dang. Oh, there's a little gap in that rail.
You know what's sad is that I can't think of that many more parts. Like,
I mean, it depends on the part. Is
Like
I'm as much as I feel like you guys might roll your eyes at this just because everybody, like, this is the obvious answer, but the Gunther's like Everglades thing I thought was super cool.
Yep, that's video.
Just because like it has a theme, there's a story, like it's interesting to the core riders, but also like there's a story with it. Like this to me is objectively like cool, just cool because he's hitting like natural spots. Like other sports, I think would look at this and be like, "Whoa, I didn't know you could do that." Yeah. Whereas there's more like novelty with Gunther's video, but I feel like it maybe connects with more people just because like it is still a very cool project, but it's telling a story.
It's got a lot of reach too.
Theme.
Yeah. No, and I would say that like when you're talking about what is a full part, like to me a park edit's not a full part, you know? So it's
like Pedro's edit.
As much as it pains me to say, it's like, I mean, is it? I don't know.
It's hard you're not going to remember those for as long. Like it's way harder to make a memorable part on just a cable than it is like.
But to me, Pedro can.
I would
very few people.
I would counter with Austin gets cabled.
Yeah, but that's not like that's an a web video I usually. But I agree, I like it. I go back to that one and watch it.
Yeah, I mean, depends how you define full part, but I don't think we should continue on the path we've been on in the sense that edits are this is fucked up. The next one is even more fucked.
I think the future of stuff like this, especially with Clarky, just because of how much time it takes, trip videos is a more realistic thing to do. Whereas instead of trying to have a bunch of people with different schedules get together and film a full video part over that takes years to do. Like if you've ever made a winch video, you know that like realistically to get the highest level stuff, it's going to take at least a year, but usually multi because people are going to get injured in the process. So, you know, spots don't work out. They either need rain, they need work. It takes a crew to get a 5-second clip. It could take a crew all day, you know?
But that whole story is a good story to tell throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, that's the Hamp Zone in Orlando. He covered some ground here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was all filmed in the winter.
He came to Orlando for like a few weeks, and
probably because it was like 30 degrees in North
Switch
Carolina.
Or is
it's Switch.
Yeah.
Switch Fatsac. Wow, guy.
Got to be Switch. 90% sure he's regular. Yeah, this is filmed and edited
on
by
the Death Star.
Yeah.
I like that angle with that cam.
Great.
That looks cool.
Great fish with age.
I filmed some of this stuff. You
know?
Did you film this one? This came out before Citrus, which was just hilarious.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was one of the
cool way to use the spot.
Yeah.
Yep. Very clean.
Yeah.
I don't mind park hits.
See, and that's where I think you can have.
I want to see everything. Give me a little. The more stuff you got in there, I feel like the more chance it is I'm gonna remember it, or you're gonna connect with someone.
Agreed.
That spot is ridiculous, dude.
Wow. That was the best way he could have used.
Yeah, I know, right?
The best.
I love it. I love seeing guys react.
I know
because they haven't seen.
I've seen this like 10 times, but it's like.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, so that one's up there for me.
Wes Smart. It's definitely not been in the past couple of years, but Wes in like. One of the more recent Coalition. It might have been Coalition, the movie, actually.
Well, the third
Wes's
is the
part
best
in Coalition,
one,
the movie, is one that I'm like, you can't help but like he uses like that last clip of Jake, the way he'll see a spot and like there's so many ways you can hit it, but like with something like that's unique where the fact that there is the bank to land, he could have just came out a little bit further and came out to flat, but because there is that little bank, like that's what I would want to see. I want to see you utilize it, and I feel like Wes, you know, there are wakeboarders that can do crazier tricks than Wes, but as far as like when it comes to winching in a spot, like the dude's got vision. He will see it and use it in the way that like even as a non-wakeboarder, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I hope he's going to land into that, you know, little transition there. And he's doing that too. Like he'll even make the trick maybe not as tech or hard as it could be to make it work for the spot. And I think the clip ends up being better.
For sure.
Being a simpler trick, hitting the spot the right way rather than showing up at the spot with a trick in mind that you're gonna do,
and you force it onto it.
I think that's a something that a few people have thought about in other sports too. And skateboarding is the same way. You can tell the difference between a guy that goes to a spot with a trick in mind versus goes to the spot, looks at it, like is physically there, and then visualizes what they can do on the spot. You know, I think it leads to better clips, better tricks, and a better part overall.
And also,
100% agree.
It leads to repeats. Like, do you follow that page? Same spot, same angle?
Oh my goodness. Yes. So good. That page is so good.
Check it out.
Oh, you're going to love it. It's
textbook.
There's like 100
it started as same spot, same trick, and then they went and had like a bunch of same spot, same trick, same angle. And at first they were like very much the exact same framing, zoomed in and stuff. And so they were like 5 in, and then people started sending them, and they're like, if we get to like 50 in a row of same spot, same angle, same trick, we're gonna change the name. So they changed the name, and now they only post. But now it's gotten to a point where like sometimes the angle is like the same spot, like distance wise, but like zoomed in more, zoomed out more. But yeah, it's the original ones were crazy. It was like identical clips.
What about you guys seen? It's another skateboard like kind of Instagram meme page, the Bussup Bussup. It's like somebody made a page dedicated entirely to like, I guess maybe you would call it like after bang, but it's like it's them like just funny rideaways that nobody else is noticing, just like a weird like pivot of their body or something. It takes like watching like 2 or 3 of them to be like, what is this? And then you recognize it, and now you'll notice it anytime you see a skate clip.
That's like the homie with the fake afterbang on wakeboarding. It's like,
I mean, I think this is different. You're saying this is like something.
No, that's not what's usually on there. Oh, I did not want to see that. I'd take that. Wait, is this all people like falling? Because
Bussup Bussup.
Maybe it's 3 Bussups.
This one's got 60K. It's got to be this one.
All right.
Let's check another clip because it looks like they're going to slam.
No, it's stuff like that. So like a little bobble out.
But yeah,
and stuff.
it's not like
but you're landing it. But
that
like,
who would have thought this
cool.
could be a page? And like this is something I feel like I've only seen for like a couple weeks, and I'm like already kind of addicted to it a little bit in a way that I'm like, I don't know, like they're not trying to be cool. It's like something, that little thing, like his arms.
And like the core skaters all notice it. Yeah, everybody notices it.
And I just think it's so funny that a page like is highlighting it. Like it's
these are too
like some of them are like the clip is better this way, I think. Oh my God.
I mean, there's some just slams in here. That's just skating. You get so much.
Look at this guy doing the
skating.
layback right here.
Yeah, they look like little people losing their balance.
So some are better than others. Dang, he did it both. He did it on the takeoff and the landing. That's a rare one.
Dude. Oh, that's good. And homie's creating a whole brand out of it.
Yeah, this is like it's pretty new, but I think.
How do you even come up with the name for that? Like that's such a good name. How do you even come up with that?
Somebody must have done that and then like said that afterwards, and there's
that was it. Yeah, locked in.
That's how that happens.
Let's we were gonna say gnarliest winch story. So
so this is a crew of some winchers here. Like
you
guys have been winching more recently than I have though, so let's start down on that.
I got one. All right. We were in Ohio. Filming the Coalition, the movie The Third, and we're at this giant, it's like a drop that comes down to like just a huge 50-foot slide down, and I was the only person down, like, so everyone's up on this hill pretty far away, and there's a big bridge over it, and then I'm down by the lake, and there's just like one random guy fishing it, and there's a bank that's really steep, and the water's moving pretty good, and it goes real deep, right? Well, I'm over there filming, the only person over there, and it's this dude who's like 6'8", and he slides into the water and starts drowning, and I just happened to be there, and I had a freaking...
Not part of your crew at all? This is like
not part of a crew, total random dude, and I found a log and ran down, ditched what I was doing, and saved the dude.
Dang.
Was he fishing or something, or was he just... Oh, he was fishing. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably watching you getting distracted or something.
No, he was like... I was behind him, so he was just down by the bank fishing.
Couple too many butt ices.
And I think he was even sober, man. The bank is so steep that he took just one step too far and then started going.
Yeah, and
then once he went in, it was so steep he couldn't get out, and he couldn't really swim. And then, like, it's a clip in the beginning of the Coalition where he's like, it's like me and this bigger black gentleman. He's like, Coalition saved my life.
That's in the movie. Yeah,
it's in the movie.
I remember that.
Wow, I didn't hear the story behind that.
That was the
that's
story
sick.
behind it.
That story had to come out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Saving lives out here. What do you got, Johnny?
I don't know if I have a good
Was
one.
it riding without a vest? Is that?
Oh my goodness.
When are you winching with a vest? Be honest with us.
No, I've only done it twice. And I mean,
only winch with the vest 2 times.
It's only winch twice.
I'm not like a big. I want my clips. It's less about the vest, but if I know it's going in a part, I actually throw a vest on because I want continuity. Like I'm weird about that. That's why I was.
That's not weird. Close. That's normal.
I mean, not everyone's that way, but I'm that way. So I want a vest, even though you don't see the vest. I want my body shape to look the same, which might seem weird, but But yeah, so if every clip without a vest, also I'm not doing anything for a part, like, so I'm not gonna kill myself either. You know, these clips of me just screwing around, just trying to winch. You know, I don't know that I have like a crate. Oh, I mean, I have like a clip. It's actually out where Marxium like breaks his like butt and stuff like that.
Hear it,
that's one of the wilder clips I've seen.
I hit the spot right before we went for me to get a clip for a part that I've been sitting on a while, I guess, because I got hurt, and then I like all I could think about is that happening to me. I was front side, but and like just destroying myself, and then he goes and gets the clip, and I'm like filming driving the winch, and I'm like, sick. You already were like, you know, in the wrong weight class right here, you know, like you killed it. We got the clip. His homie, who's not a drone pilot at all, just like a friend who wanted to try to film wakeboarding, like was like, oh, I missed it on my drone. The clip's not going to be good. It's not going to be used. He's regardless.
100 feet in the air looking
He's
straight
not
down.
close.
Yeah.
I don't know how he missed it.
I'll hover right here.
I mean, he wasn't that bad, but yes, I mean, we all know, like, someone who doesn't film wakeboarding on a drone and you're winching and you have a long run up, like, you got to be kind of on it.
I'd redo it for Dave Ave or Ian for sure.
And the guy, of course, is like, bro, I miss it. You think you could do that again? And he's on a high, like, oh, I just nailed this trick that is way too hard for him. He's like, yeah, I got it. Which, to be fair, like, it's not that the trick was too hard for him. It was just too hard because of how gnarly the spot was.
As a driver, you were nervous for him.
I basically said, don't do it. And then he's like, I got it. And I'm like, you know, I'm not one to control you. Like, you know, like, if you feel that way. But when I hit record, was filming and operating. When I hit record, my heart was like sinking, pounding the whole time before too.
You manifested him into it, dude.
No, but like the thing is, no, this is not what happened. What happened was I should have been harsher about telling him no, but he was edging harder into it every time. It was pretty hard rail to get a full pull, and he like finally got the commitment enough, like they're the edge enough to like full pull it. But like he's going on that path. He has adrenaline. Like I know he's gonna over edge. You know? And that was just in my head. Like I knew his energy. I knew everything. I probably, when he was edging in, should have cut the winch, which I would never do to someone, you know. But like I was just like in the moment. I was just like I saw it all coming, but I didn't know what to do. Like when he was actually edging in, you know, and he just came in hot, and then
you shouldn't have done. Like I understand being like I could physically take this away from him, but like.
No, but you should never cut a winch when someone's like about to ollie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like I was saying, you could. I think it was the right move.
Because if something happened,
you've already committed. You're giving him a pull. Yeah.
It was his choice. I did mention something, you know. And of course, it's like in my mind, I was like, "There's a 10% chance it actually goes that bad." I mean,
if he already did it too, like he has even more of an argument to say. Like I really, even though you're like, dude, but this is more the risk to reward here for the follow up clip of the drone. You probably could have made a point to talk him out of it, but once he decided he was going back, you don't stop the winch. Like you gotta pull him.
And like maybe we're not going hard enough in our crew, but I think we're very like. I mean, we try to winch weekly. It's like I'm taking it the approach of like I want to learn, just get one step better every time. I'm not trying to go like so insane, you know, and stuff. And so I think we don't have crazy stories because we're very like methodical about like taking the right steps, you know, to only go a little bit harder, make sure we know the setup, like we're super intentional about stuff. That was pretty early on, but yeah, I haven't had anything like that. But then since then, I don't know if you've seen the clip. I have it on my phone if it's not online. He went on another trip when I was at a contest earlier this year, like Langenfeld or something. And I actually texted him the week before I'm leaving, and I'm like, yo, this spot looks sick. And I'm thinking for me, this spot is not chill, you know? And it looks kind of chill, but it's gnarly. And then next thing I know, I get an Instagram photo of all these kids that don't have that much experience. I mean, Mark's not a kid, but they don't have that much experience, like setting things up. And it's just a hard setup spot, you know? And I just like, my heart sank when I got the clip or the photo. And then next thing I know, I get a call that like, homie's in the hospital, broke both his legs or something, or at least 2 bones in one leg or something. I don't know. Just like tacoed the thing, like, and then he doesn't winch anymore, and he sold his winch and everything. And it's a bummer.
No way. He's done?
I mean, he'll go winching with me. I think I'm going to try to get him back out, but I'm like...
It humbled him.
Yeah, well, I think people underestimate this stuff. Like,
dude, they do not...
You grow up on unit, and I'm like, yo, we need to chill out. And also, like the people who went, I texted Campbell and was like, do not hit that spot without me there. Like, I think she sent me the photo.
As you should. I think people, like, they don't realize.
Like, you have a freaking career going on right now, and, like, that is not, and I don't think, she told me she wasn't going to hit the spot. She wasn't planning on it. I think she had a little bit of awareness, too, but she's, like, young, you know, but, like, it was kind of a gnarly spot.
What was the spot?
I mean, we can put the photo in. I don't know if we can put the clip in if it's posted, but it's like a sea ledge made out of, like, those perfect, beautiful looking I don't know, like stones you'd put on the side of a like garden or something, you know, little trapezoid shape, but it's just like stacks of them up to like 5-6 feet high. Sea ledge, but they're super sharp, you know what I mean? And they're
pavers?
Yeah, pavers. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like nice pavers, brand new, super sharp pavers. And it's a sea, so the only way to come into it is like come at it like an elbow. And then there's not a good spot to put the winch. And of course, people put the winch like pulling you into the elbow more. And then the kicker was janky. There's a lot of things. And you have to like catch these pavers. And I don't know if they would slide, you know, like if you're on the corner of them. But it was just a very sharp spot. And then the whole side of it is like, because they're like sticking out from each other to make this design. So like if you were to taco it, you're getting cheese grated down these pavers, you know. Sure, it's an easy spot, you know. Like in theory, he could have hit the spot. But it's those things that they're not realizing that, like, you know, a lot of these clips I'm posting on Instagram that are kind of throwaways, they're like the perfect spot, right? They're like the perfect tan rail with the perfect grass next to it where, like, if you tacoed it or you overshoot it, like, you're chilling, you know? But there's a lot of times there's a spot where the trick would be just as easy, but obviously if something goes wrong, it's going 10 times worse at that spot than this spot. And I think people underestimate that stuff. You know?
Definitely have to realize you are risking your life winching. I think that like most people know, but some spots more than others.
No, people
underestimate.
And the amount of risk you choose to take is on you.
It's not hypothetical either. It already has happened. I would be remiss to not mention that there has been a winching death before.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I don't think people know. I think it's good to mention. We don't need to get into details, but I know that thing. Yeah,
there has been.
Yeah, not many people know. It wasn't super recent, but it's it is real.
I have a tattoo for him on my leg.
Yeah, I figured you would know a lot more about it than me too, but yeah,
we'll go down the line.
This
is no, this isn't that. This is my story.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even say this is the gnarliest, but Derek like broke his penis open.
Also, wait,
on rocks.
Real quick. Mad respect to Mark. He's a freaking sender, and he's gnarly and stuff, you know.
I want to go.
And he was
35.
Yeah, you should. I mean,
he's 35.
I think he's like, he's like not young. Like that's why it's like he knows what he's doing, and like he I pointed out what could have gone wrong, you know, but like it's his risk to take. I just think sometimes you feel like it's never going to happen.
You get tunnel vision of what you want to happen. And like, there's a balance.
And it's 5%.
What could and what
but that 5% ain't good, you know? And like he survived. He could ride again. He's fully healed. Like it's not the worst thing to happen.
You can also winch spots where you're not going to get messed up. You could winch a drop on a wakeboard. You'll be all right. You could winch a ledge that's pretty mellow. Like
I'm having to talk to the crew now and be like, because they're like, yeah, that spot's not worth it. And I'm like, every spot is worth it. We're wakeboarding. If it's too easy, it's an Instagram clip. But go out and get the experience. You know what I mean? Like, I hit stuff all the time that I'm like, people probably look at my winch clips on Instagram and like, that was lame. And it's like, yeah, but I'm also just like getting better at it. And like, why not post it? You know, like the clip was clean, but like, I'm just trying to get better at winching. And sometimes
the winch pole is totally different too. So the more you ride it, the better you're going to get.
Sometimes
the more
I'm
confident you're going to
just
feel.
get some reps in, you know, because you learn something every time you winch, you know. There's no spot too easy.
Is gnarly.
Did he hit his dick on that?
No. It's the next clip, but I guess I'll show you this one. Yeah, this was nuts going front lip on this. But
oh my gosh.
You did that?
No, that's not me.
Dip
That's
that front edge hanging
Tyler.
over that?
Yeah, it was.
Oh boy.
I mean, that's as close as it gets. This is it. So this is what you mean, where like the spot could be easy. He got it clean. He laced it. Maybe a little concussion there.
Easy,
at the end, but,
high consequence.
And then you get greedy and you try and go for a little bit more, and those are rocks.
Oh yeah, those are boulders.
So,
yeah.
And that
butthole blew open.
It was his penis.
Really?
Yeah, his penis was bleeding.
Got a big one, just hanging down below like that.
I don't know if it was.
Did he sit on it?
He has large something to even try that because
he's a very, very, very talented wakeboarder. It's just you get a little bit too over on the one side, and there's nothing you can do. You're over there.
Did he come back for the front three?
No, this was before.
Okay.
He was trying to get a much longer.
But that's the thing.
I was about to
you
say,
got the
dude,
front
hitting
three.
with
You
the
got a
cleat.
pretty good 50-50. But, I mean, that's all part of the process. Like, at some point, you're going to have to find your limit, and that's how it goes, you know? But I think people just underestimate it a little bit. And, like, honestly, me and Gunther had this conversation because Gunther got into winching pretty much for X Games. And he's like, dude, winching is just stressful. This was, a while ago. But he's like, winching is just stressful and stuff. And I'm like, you got to come with us, dude, because, like, I don't want winching to be stressful. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to go freaking hit something totally different, everyone having a good time and find the stuff. And, like, sometimes I'm like, first of all, if we all were winching more, just having a good time, there would be more winching. We'd get better at it and we'd hit gnarlier stuff eventually, But also, it's like, I think there's just such a pressure of, like, doing the craziest stuff on a winch. And
that's what people associate it with. It's almost like when you talk boat, you're talking huge wake boat,
same problem.
It's an assumption that's made when we talk about like, I've been riding a bunch of boat. Really, I've been riding like a whaler, but like winching doesn't always have to be the most extreme thing. Like there are fun. And when you're starting, like as a new crew, you're new to winching, you should not be going to spots like where the consequences are high. Like you should be practicing on build a rail in a pond first. Get really good at hitting this rail and just learn how to stake your winch down, where to put trajectories and stuff.
Starting, stopping, speed, cutting.
Picking the wrong spot to put the winch is the difference in like somebody
it's crazy
potentially getting very, very hurt. And you learn these things at low consequence spots, beach winching, at a pond where you can build a rail where you're not going to bother
and then you can
anyone,
move the winch and like you can get tech with it. That's why there's this land gap. I have a list of like what I call basically perfect spots that I won't really use in an edit, but it's like where I'm taking everyone to, and there's like this land gap where we literally just learn to hit a kicker on a winch,
I like that you guys have that training. It's like a training spot, so you can.
I have a list of training spots. I'm looking for one more, and I feel would be pretty complete, and that would be like a ollie on handrail around here because there's nothing really good to like get good ollies unless you're building a pool, which we do. So you have that like ollie effect, but like it's hard to get like an ollie backlip on like and practice that and stuff. But yeah, it's like. These training spots, like, people should be going to all the time, And, like, I feel like people look at winching like it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of this and that. But, like, if you spend the time to find the right spot or you build a rail or something, like, it can be so fun. And that being said, Gunther has come out and winch with us, had super fun times. But, obviously, Gunther also, like, is super busy. So I get where he is also, like, I don't really have the time to go winch necessarily for... Like, I want to go do something gnarly. Like, he does want to get
He's also
gnarly.
at the level he doesn't need to do the smart style step up. Like, he's ready to hit the spot.
He's so good.
He's ready, dude.
So
he doesn't need to.
It is different for Gunther. I didn't want to be like Gunther should and can go hit those gnarly stuff. But
what do you got, TJ?
Can you bring up? I'll start telling you. You can bring up Human Rocket and Kyle Walton's part. I think it's like it'll be his ender. So he's like one of the first parts.
Is this a YouTube or a Vimeo situation?
YouTube. It'll be on YouTube. Human Rocket, Water Monsters.
But dude, if you do winching right, it's the best freaking thing ever. I don't want to go to a cable again.
This one is like a spot one of those spots where you can go to and ride it all day. That's just not. It doesn't bother anyone. You've seen it in a lot of videos. Wakeboarders have hit it. It's definitely. Oh, he's in the beginning. He's in the beginning. Yeah. It'll be second part. Yeah, after him.
I mean, this spot looks like fun in itself. Just to, like even that on a wakeboard.
Okay, so it's going to be in this part at the end. But I'll start telling the story anyway. Yeah. So this spot is in it's Palm Beach. It's called the 441. That is what we call it. And basically what it is it's a drop. It's actually two drops combined. So there's like a V, and where you land is like a separate pond, and then there's like another 2-foot drop to get out of it. And the final landing pond that you end in after hitting like the second is like a canal. That
I think
technically you probably have
a few times.
Like, yeah.
We call it the Boca Drop, I think.
Yeah, so it's 441 is because the street it's on. So but yeah, the name just depends on the crew. But anyway, so that like we've gone to this spot a ton of times, and it's one of those ones you can hit all day long. Like so, like a confidence level. This is a perfect spot where you could get caught slipping because you think you know it. You've done the walkout a bunch of times.
It's got the ledge you can ollie onto if you're a wakeboarder.
Yes,
like
yeah. Or what Kyle does here as his ender, he wall rides the wall and
of that ledge. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, but like whatever, you can get complacent at the spot because it's one that you've probably have been to a lot. And
this is a perfect spot that
the craziest thing that I ever saw happen at it, and you probably didn't know this could happen there because I didn't know, and I'd been there
this is
the spot right here. So that, see where he's like the last drop that he's landing. It'll show at the end.
Yeah.
I'll
replay that.
The ender will
clip,
be a better clip, but
I can show you a clip with good angles of it too.
so anyways, we're hitting the spot, sessioning it all day long, and somebody is walking the rope.
Oh,
out.
where is that? That's
here. That's under 408. That's off of
Did they
Lake
make that?
Underhill. Yeah, and we can go set that up in a day. You can rebuild that wall and make that do that.
Okay, I was like, there's no way that was there.
I'll show you that spot if you want to know where it's at, and you can build the wall in a day.
So what happened, TJ?
So yeah, right. So someone's walking the rope out, right? And in that landing, the final landing, it's a canal. Boats can run in there, and there is no speed limit for the boats. And I never knew that it was, a boat would be in there. If I did, I would think it'd be a fishing boat because I see people fishing.
I've seen boats fly through, so we do have a spotter usually.
So
that's the only downside about the spot.
So this is a spot right here, right? And this person, they were swimming, walking the rope back, but they were almost to the start point with the rope all the way across the whole thing. We're all on shore talking, we've been there for hours, and I've never seen rope over the handle, over the shoulder, walking back with it, right? And all of a sudden, the person that was operating the winch, he's like a loose personality. Like this person, like his name's Dan Robbins. He used to own Southern Wakeskates. Like he 100% saved multiple people's lives this day. And he is like the person that you would least expect to do it. He's probably got a beverage next to him, like probably got something else, and we're all talking and definitely distracting him. He heard it, like it clicked in his head quickly. Like he heard the hum of an outboard coming, and like somebody's walking the rope, we're all talking. He's all of a sudden just like stands up out of the conversation, runs out of the circle, grabs the rope as it's sitting on shore and yanks it before I can't even see the boat in frame. Like he literally yanks the rope that's over this person's shoulder. The rope laying in the water goes up. The boat goes right under it, dude. Like a boat full of like 3 people in a flats boat, dude. And they never saw anything happen. Like
the riders, the guy with the rope.
The rider turned around and threw his hands up and was like, "What the hell? You just ripped my shoulder out!" Like the boat flew through 45 miles an hour. Never even looked up. They never knew anyone was on shore or doing anything. And like the Dan Robbins who actually did it is like, hand on his knees, like he's like up, like having like a coming down from almost having a panic attack. And the rest of us are kind of just like, wait, what just happened? And like, then we see the person that's got the rope, like yelling, and we're all like adding up what just happened. Like, and he literally yoked this rope up before the boat was in my frame of view. There was nothing to be seen. I'm like, what is he doing? Yanks it up in that like half second that the rope spent in the air. The boat went whoom, right under it, dropped back to the water. Rider turns around. Boat people never knew what happened. And like, we could have just watched multiple people get decapitated. The person riding get their, get their arm ripped off.
Not
or
to
worse,
mention,
like
if you've been to the spot and if they're going from the winch spot right to left, I don't know which direction that is, but if something happened to the boat because the rope got caught,
bridge.
Yeah, there's gnarly pillars. Like, yeah, it's wide enough, but the boat's gonna turn in some way, and yeah, they were
going that way towards the bridge.
They would get
the winch would have ripped out and taken out whoever else was standing there.
Yeah,
that was just like a story of just for situational awareness. Like at that point, I was at like the deepest into winching in my career. I thought I could have taught a class on it, and just like really thought that I knew what I was doing. The people I knew what they were doing. And just like in a like, I don't know what was the right thing. Was the right thing for him to leave it? Let the rope. If he leaves it, the boat runs the rope over. The rider's probably getting hurt.
Yeah,
and like so he
and
like part of what he did made a decision like to potentially put more risk. But like we walked away unscathed and just like the situational awareness.
He obviously did the right thing.
He made a decision quickly, and yeah, like the result was the right one. But like all the scenarios of what could have happened, I like could not wrap my brain around for a while. And I just remember being like,
nuts.
I can't believe people come here to this spot and do this. And like, this could happen to literally anyone,
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
I'll never think of that. Dude, I never knew that. I will never think of that spot in the same way. That is unbelievable.
The other thing people really need to think about is
Danny Robbins.
Spots like this tend to have ways to control the water, which tend, especially on a wakeboard.
Did you guys open the dam to fill up the middle pond, or did you hit it like nasty?
I've hit it all different ways, all different water heights. It's such a perfect spot. It's like a spot I like to.
You've been winching a lot. Where are these
do
clips,
you know how
Johnny
to
D?
unlock the? Do you know how to open the dam?
There's a couple clips of yeah, I do know how to open it. There's a couple clips like I do 50 back 3, like ollie 50 the ledge back 3.
I'm under the umbrella down
There's
there.
clips on
right there.
Well, Tad and me. I think I'm holding the flash and Tad is shooting.
I honestly
photo.
probably have 5 clips on this spot on Instagram
That's so
because
good.
it's just one of those
That's
spots.
so good.
Amazing.
At that point, like nobody even thought that putting a board on a flat wall was possible.
You
let
could,
alone down
you could
a
give me the
drop,
next
like-
5 years to land that. It's not happening.
Now guys do this though. Like people do this.
Oh
like,
yeah.
This was
Cole, Max, Andrew can do this and do it down spots too.
That's
But at this time, like we
crazy.
were debating whether or not a true wall ride like that would ever happen.
Yeah.
You know, and he did it so good.
Yeah,
Boom,
it's
it did.
crazy.
Shout out Kyle
But,
Walton too.
okay.
Stomped it
Big
too.
shout out to
dude.
Kyle
Super
Walton.
good.
You know how you can change the water level and stuff. Some of these are now automatic, especially on the big ones. You see people like Blake got the cover gapping or whatever, and like that stuff opening with a wakeboard on is super extremely dangerous, and people also underestimate that. Like you almost need someone right there to check and hear those things, you know, because if that water starts rushing and you have a board on, you don't have very much long to get the board off, and you also don't have very long to, like, you might not be able to get out of that situation too.
Usually when people hit this spot, they hit it unless like they've gone with someone that knows what they're doing, because you have to bring like a pretty big crescent wrench for it. But most of the time, what ends up happening, there's a drain plug in this spot on the front of the small wall. So anytime you go there, like the way that this is supposed to be is like the water's actually draining under that second wall down there. So what ends up happening is like all kinds of nasty garbage just sits in that. Like if that second one's not flowing, and there's a bunch of clips of people hitting it that didn't know that you could go up in the dam. Like it's right to the right of that little contraption that we're looking at on top of the ledge.
Yeah.
On the right side of it, there's a
wheel,
little
like,
top,
thing.
a square thing. You can put the crescent wrench on it,
Just
and you
to-
loosen
just
it,
to right of
and then
your
like you can see the water start like welling up inside there and spinning, and it takes less than 10 minutes, and the whole thing will fill up, be flush. All the garbage pours out of it. It gets clear.
So
That's a pro
becomes
tip. That
like
is
a-
a
like
big
a-
pro
another
tip.
thing, the first time I hit it, 2017, I was with Nick LeDuc, no vest, no helmet, both of us. We're hitting the rail.
Why was that context needed?
I am getting to it.
Okay. I just think you're trying to up the core score pretty hard.
No, this is stupid. The point is, this is really stupid. This is the point. It was a 2-foot, dude, guys. I literally, that's the last thing I care about right now.
All right.
So as he's saying, the water can raise and lower. It was a 2-foot step up over the ledge after you land.
It's a wall. It's the
It's
sketchiest
a wall.
wall
It's
to run
gnarly.
into. Yeah.
So we're hitting this rail, and I mean the clip's on Nick's Instagram at least, and he goes board slide the top pretzel 270, lands blind.
Textbook wakeboard joke.
I don't know what he's thinking, but he doesn't know what he's thinking, he said. But I guess he felt like he had more time. He tried to like turn and stop, and he just slams into the wall. He thinks he can stop before the wall, but like you're going pretty fast. And he slams into the wall. Thankfully, he had enough board control to like get hit. He's in a board slide slamming into the wall. Get his
the
toes
brakes,
up.
yeah.
But we're like, no vest, no helmet. This thing's really gnarly. And like it was a kind of sketchy landing, which is why he did what he did. Like if he landed clean, he probably would have just kept riding and ollie over it. But he like hit the wall and stops on the wall completely. And like it's shaky in the beginning. Like he could have caught an edge onto the wall and all this stuff. Like it was super gnarly. And we were just like thinking, whatever, we're gonna land blind right into this thing. When you hit that rail, you get close. So like
You said you called that like a perfect spot or something? Like
I think as a wakeboarder it is.
yeah,
Like
no,
yeah.
I think I agree. I just think like
'cause
I
you
never
can-
knew the danger factor of it. Out of
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
times
Okay.
of going there, never realized that there was that. After knowing that, every time I went since, I was like ready for hearing a
That's
motor.
it.
But like the fact that I'd never heard anyone say anything about it, never seen it happen, like 10 times going there, like that was
That's
jarring.
not on my like training spot. It's not that easy, but it is one of those spots. Like if you have a gas winch on a hitch, you can back your truck up. It's a super high pull.
You're not bothering anyone.
You don't have to
spend
do
time all day
anything.
there.
You can ride all day. If you're gonna ollie down it, it's chill. If you're aware of that wall, it's pretty decent. The ollie on height's great. You don't even wax the ledge, aside from the boats.
That wall's far enough away that you can as long as you don't try to save something you're sketchy at it, like it's fine.
Yeah, he tried to save
very-
something, but we were like not good at winching. We're going no vest, no helmet, and I look back at that clip and I'm like embarrassed. I
Damn,
did
bringing
it.
back the real wake parts.
Well, that reminded me of, this is the last clip and then we can wrap this up, but Felix's, when he slams into the wall, just bam, right?
Oh, concussion protocol for sure.
When
I'm
I
putting him
talked
in
to him,
it.
he said nothing. He said he was fine.
Oh, he's got a helmet
I just
on.
read the rule
Yeah,
book
but
about
look
the
at
test
how
to give him.
look at that,
Watch this.
dude. Bam.
Yeah.
No,
That's a
but
concussion.
if he-
You don't get away from that without getting one.
That's 20 miles an hour to
If
stop.
he didn't have a helmet on, it's
His
cracked head open,
brain's
yeah.
leaking on the.
it could be brain damage.
Water.
You know, like it's gnarly. Like
I got one more
that's the stuff you think
winch
is not
story
gonna
for you.
happen.
That is, I don't really tell this story often, but this was when this is before I ever moved down or anything. I was still in Akron, and I found like a series of drops going down by my college, right? And so one person had a winch that I had borrowed, and like we would use it to snowboard in the winter, whatever. So anyway, I saw like the 408 gap, how they made those blocks, and like Ben made that Red Bull video, right? So it's a big wall in Akron. It's only like a 2-foot drop, but there's like a lot of heavy water that moves over it, and it's deep in the landing. And then there was just like a little 6-foot dry concrete pad in the middle, right? So I decide on that pad in the middle, I'm going to take cinder blocks and make a flat bar. That would then go down the drop. So I go there alone, okay? And I'm in between classes, and I bring out all these cinder blocks. I bring out concrete and my shovel. And I'm working on this thing. I get all my all my blocks lined up. And then I see a little trickle of water come down. And the pad that I'm on is 6 inches out of the water, right? So I'm like, what the hell? And then I look down. The pad is now completely underwater. And I'm like, what? What's going on? And then I look down, and I realize it's starting to rush faster and faster and faster. I got hit with a flash flood while I was working on the spot. I ditch all my stuff, dive off the end of the freaking dam, and just like it just starts going. By the time I'm there, I'm watching the blocks pour over and like go down the drop. I just make it to a tree root, and I'm like hang on like you would like after you were still wake surfing. Like it's up to like 10 plus miles an hour current, holding on to a tree root, barely make it out, and almost got swept down the river. Yeah. Right. So I'm like, oh my God, that was so crazy. Go to my class that I was not allowed to be late for one more time. Go talk to my professor, soaking wet, covered in sand. I'm like, I almost just died in a flash flood. And he was like, you need to get your life together.
I only have one question. That's insane. I only have one question, though. Did you have a helmet and vest on or no?
No vest, no helmet.
That's why.
Zero.
That's
right?
That's why. You got to get your life together, get that vest on.
Okay, but get this. This is the craziest part of this. So I bring my friend back there. I call him up and I go, it's 3 hours after that happened. And I had borrowed a shovel from my grandfather, right? And he said, I'm lending you the shovel. It has to make it back to me. And so I go back 3 hours later. I left it on the drop. I walk down to the water with my friend. We look at the drop. It is now cascading. It's probably 4 feet of water above the lip of it, just pouring down like a waterfall. And right then, I shit you not, that fucking shovel pops up and flies down the thing 4 hours later.
Did you get it?
Huh? No, bro. I would have died. So anyway, we go back the next day. The entire dam is destroyed. It had been there for 80 years, and then that had never happened.
100-year flood came through right when you tried to build your ledge.
Yeah.
That's a win story.
Don't go to the spot by yourself for any reason except scoping.
Bro, I've been so
check it out.
tempted because if you don't know, I almost do 100% of my cable filming by myself. Like I set up a camera and just do it most of the time. And I've been so tempted to just do winch missions by myself because 90% of the time we're running a 2-person crew. Like camera on a tripod, dad cam in a hand, operator, homies hitting record, and driving, and we kill it. It's great, but it's
Bro,
like
you can't go no vest, no helmet, no filmer, no driver.
I know.
Well, these just we're never going to hear from one day.
With Moto Winch, you can.
I don't ride no vest.
3-man crew is the way to go, dude. 3 to 4-man crew.
Let's set the record straight. Do not go wakeboarding, winching, or anything. None of you guys have enough experience to go no vest, no helmet.
Nobody does.
Yeah,
no one does.
All right, well, that's a great way to wrap it up. Some good winch stories there. I think appreciate you guys coming on. That was a blast. I want to say thank you to everyone tuning in. Thanks to all the Patreon subscribers. You guys' support really helps make this podcast possible. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure to rate 5 stars. That does help a ton. And if you like this podcast, make sure to share it. So until next time, see you guys later.
Peace.